G'day and welcome to the Inforunners. I'm Execute. Join us be a week. Joined this week by Conscious Algared. How you doing?
Feeling older, but yeah. But I'm here. I'm coping with the heat and everything else. But yeah.
Where were you yesterday, sucker? What did you miss?
I missed the annual gathering of all the Inforunners for our ship review. Unfortunately, I was tied up doing caring and helping look after parents or looking after my mum.
Yeah, you had
a couple of interviews and
you had
not interviews, but appointments, and
you had your priorities correct. That is all you need to say.
So, as we tell people, real life trumps
yes,
fun.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Have you had a chance to get in and save Stanton yet?
No, I have not. I was hoping yesterday, but yesterday was...
Good luck, is all I say. It is like, with what happened with Phase 1, I'm having more trouble with Phase 2, and it is clear that they had to extend Phase 1. If they do not extend Phase 2, I will be utterly baffled. It is, I am having, okay, if I break down, everyone's got different problems, right? Because I'm hearing across the sun. But the main problem I'm having is I'm doing these, so I'm doing Frontier Fighters. That's who I decided to go for. And one of the ones I have to do is kill a depot, right? You got to blow up these fuel depots. And you know the generators on the outside of the Imperial Star Destroyers? You know, those big hexagonal sphere things? So imagine YOLO versions of those. That's what you're kind of essentially trying to destroy. But when you get there, all the markers that tell you where they are disappear.
Oh, well, you know,
and you're in
difficulty.
Yeah, but you're in areas where you're meant to be essentially like under turret fire, so you kind of meant to like swoop in and shoot them and
blast it up and then fly away.
That's it.
And because you've got to hunt for it, you're constantly getting yapped.
And there is some kind of another bug as well where I haven't quite nailed it down, but it seems to be possibly linked to if someone else or an AI accidentally shoots them, you don't get credit for them. I've had 3 now where I've got down to under 15%, meaning that there's probably only like 1 set left. Can't find them. I go around the entire asteroids multiple times. No.
It almost sounds like the age-old MMO problem where you'd be fighting the boss mob and you get it down to 5%. And some random would come up and shoot it with a bow and kill it, you know. Yeah.
And that's not to mention...
they'd get the credit, and you wouldn't. I was like, oh.
And it's not to mention the other things like the elevator's not working and all those other things. And I'm sure one of the reasons why it's different for everybody is there'll be different problems with each mission, right? Or each missions that you're doing or what you're trying to do. And I've managed to get 2 of 6 done in Phase 1, so I haven't even got to Phase 2 yet. But so I know there's a lot of people struggling. Like, and I've done this thing... if it was 2 of 6, and if I was counting every mission I've done, the number of missions that I've got down to like under 15%, and most of the time it's like 11, 9, 8, so I should really say 10%. But the number, I think I'm up to 3 or 4 of them now. So I would have completed or be very close to completing it, and it's really aggravating. And I've you know what it's like with me. If I get to a certain point where the game is driving me nuts, I kind of rage out. I go play something else, go have some food. But yeah, I've done this.
He does. He does all the time.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. I'll
just confirm yourself throwing yourself under the bus. I'll confirm it.
But I rage out with issues that I know that they will eventually get around to fixing. And what that's going to lead me into is obviously the big discussion that I got you to watch, that I'm hoping a lot of other people watched, was the 3-hour live stream they did yesterday. So you've watched the first part, and I've kind of watched the last part. So between we're going to get rid
to the middle.
Yeah, well, I haven't had a chance to go back to watch the start, but yeah.
There is a lot of good stuff in there. Interestingly, one of the problems you raised was one of the epistemic issues. And Benoit talks about the efficiency of fixing bugs. And he says, not everyone's a specialist on the areas, and some of them are just like you said, they're like bang, bang, bang. Others need a specialist person to do it. 4 topics: ATCs, ASOP terminals, hangars, and transit systems. They're what he refers to as sandworms. They're the nasty, horrible, big, Vorpal bunnies that will kill you. And he even says ATCs, the team that worked on them is no longer here.
Joy Pop, thank you for this. Sorry, I do this when I'm trying to get Algared's attention.
Yep.
Thank you for the tier 1 subscription on Twitch. We still
also,
are not used to Twitch at all. Oh, we've been doing this now like 2 years on Twitch, and it still feels
still
new. Yeah.
Because in fairness, we only use Twitch when we do the live stream. Everything else was just YouTube. I did see earlier on, someone did ask, is the bot running? And so we need the bot to be
thanks.
started.
So people know me so well. Terrible.
And I knew the bot wasn't running, but
yeah, they know me so well. All right, now she's running.
And the beautiful thing is, the bot will hunt down the question. So, if you do have a question, put it in, and bot will now pick it up. It should have picked up any other questions that were there, but I see it's not doing it at the moment. So,
no, nothing's come through yet. But YouTube does it a little bit slower because YouTube does it after there's a certain number of them. It pulls them in because you don't have as many draw calls on YouTube if you know how the back ends work. So Twitch is a lot better at it. There we go.
And here it comes.
Yeah.
First question from.
So hang on. We've got a couple more things to go over.
Yeah. I wasn't going to do the first question. I was just saying it. First question's come through.
Yeah. Cool. No worries. So I got I've got to turn off streamer mode because it's gonna. So if I get any beeps, sorry, a guy from the community called Captain Coyote joined me last night. He turned out to be a very mixed Irish accent, and it was really hard to know. Anyway, that's beside the point. But we ended up playing, and he was helping me and giving me a whole bunch of advice to how to do these Frontier ones because he was doing them as well, and we were struggling with it both together. But we did have a really good time, and we're going to hook up again tomorrow and try and continue what we were doing. But I did just want to give him a bit of a shout out. But one of the things he was saying, Algared, was he talked about how we don't essentially promote ourselves enough, and I did want to kind of talk to you about that. Do we need to go to, and I'll put that to the community as well, would that annoy you guys if we are like promoting ourselves so much? It's just not an Aussie thing, is it? We have a tall poppy syndrome here in Australia. Like if you are too big, we will humble the fuck out of you, we will pull you down. But it is a natural, it is how it's done on YouTube, but I don't enjoy that element of it. Like, that's kind of why we tack it on at the end, and I smack this button at the end and go, ooh, and the people on Twitch never see that. I actually cut that off and remove it off, But, that is a part of how it's done. Is that, should we be trying to grow ourselves more, or just be me and Algared and just keep doing what we're doing? That's what I'll put to you guys, and you guys let us know.
And we know, we know a lot of. We watch a lot of channels, and we know it's part of the process, and we know that but at certain points you've got to plug it because X number of people aren't subscribed, even though they think they are, and all of those things.
Well, it's the same when Paul and Space come on; they push us more to promote ourselves too, and we just I don't know. It just doesn't feel natural. It's not an Aussie thing to do. But yeah, I don't know. I know it's the part of the process, but it's the part I don't enjoy.
Yeah, it's a bit like when we went to monetization.
Oh yeah,
putting the ads in. We resisted that for ages because we didn't want to be seen as we're just doing this for the money or doing this for the ads. And
you should see the videos where like if you leave it to automatically put ads in, it's fucking gross. Like it tries to put one in like it'd be close to every 5 minutes. And I think the way I've come to is I kind of go one in the first 8 minutes because they want you to do that, and then essentially I double it to 16, and then after that I kind of double it to 30, and then double it to an hour, and then after that I do it like every hour. So I've kind of essentially that's kind of where I think's kind of fair. So I kind of front load it, which is what I've been told to do by other people, and then I let it kind of taper off. So.
But that's one of the things we tried to do, and even right at the beginning we used to do double ads and to try and, as you said, front load the ads so that
and then just get them over and done with as well.
And then if we're placing them, we can try and put them into places where there seems to be a more natural break. Sometimes we don't manage that. once we punch for placement.
Well, it's the same thing on Twitch. Like Twitch wants you to do one. I think it's like 3 minutes of ads an hour. And one of the things me and Algared notice when we do these live streams is there's this kind of big green button that comes up on the screen saying there's going to be ads in a minute, and then there's an ads for a minute, and so you get a lot more ads on Twitch. So I think Twitch is a lot more used to it. I'm sorry we're talking shop, but like it was just on my mind, and I kind of. You are our audience, so this is our weekly interaction with you. So I kind of want to put it to you: are you comfortable with that? Do you want us to just keep growing this thing? Because we don't grow as fast as other people. Like you look at the subscriber count, we're massively behind the other people, but we don't care. Like it's just we're doing what we're doing. And I've enjoyed what we're doing, and we get told by people that we're really big, but we don't feel really big. And I don't know if that's a priority.
In fairness, I think we got a sense of that at Sitcom.
I think we found that the hardcore audience, so the CitizenCon people that are dragging their ass to another country to go to CitizenCon, they're our audience. Like the veterans, the people that are really invested in this game. Like ourselves,
it really did feel like at times we couldn't take a step without someone saying, "Hang on, X," It was humbling. It was quite
and the double Dutch thing a lot. Like they'd go X Algared or Algared Exe. Like they'd notice one and then notice the other. Was quite interesting as well.
The classics were times where
almost like they were saying double.
Might be one or two faces. Yeah, but we'd be one or two paces apart, and they'd see me and not see you, or they'd see you and not see me, and it was like, oh, and there's, and then it was like, oh. that was, it was weird, but it was.
Well, it is weird walking into a place and having like I'm from a small island, literally on the other side of the world, where most people have no idea what I do, and it'd be the same thing. Actually, ironically, it'd be the same for you this weekend. You're going to a bar, Citizen.
Yeah,
you walk into a room like that and everyone knows who you are, and that's not our normal daily lives. That is just
it'll be interesting because I know Culture will be there. I'm pretty certain General Desperado will be there. So
Jen's going.
There'll be 3 or 4 streamers.
Give him a big hug from me, and tell him
Which one?
tell him Execute. Just say this: Execute wanted you to give him a big sloppy kiss, but I can't do that. And just see his reaction. I don't want you to give him a big sloppy kiss. I just want you to see the reaction of I said that. Yeah,
I can actually say that to him, and it would be true.
No, he's a great guy. As is Concy. Like I wish I could be there, but it's just so expensive for a couple of hours.
I got to say thanks, Pete.
Yep,
we are totally in his top 50. Thanks, Pete.
You guys are totally in my top 50. Yeah, he's like my 17th famous streamer, so it's fine. Yeah. He's doing that for me. He's getting me back. Pete, check your Discord messages too. I did send you a message. I want you to get back to me. Yeah.
Now, I did see a couple of other questions pop up in YouTube, and they're still not coming through on the bot. So,
the bot is still up. The only question we have got is from Socially Confused.
Yeah. But I have seen a couple of others come in.
So if you are not
until the question, so
real quick, if you're not socially confused and you put in a question, re-put in your question, please. That would be the easiest way to solve it. Right. So currently, right now, we got one question. So we usually talk about stuff like this to build up a pool of questions. So if you would like to get a question in, please feel free to do so. We are looking. One of the things I did about that message I sent you, Pissball Pete, is we are looking at doing another T-shirt, and we are thinking about doing the mission team. So I would like to see, because you know Elliot like I do, I thought it would be good if we could do some brainstorming and see if we can get a shirt done for them. I don't know. What do you guys think about doing that? If you have any ideas about a shirt, I'm on the line I have in my head that I was talking to Dafty Digit, obviously. He's the guy that helped us with the last one. This one, actually, I am wearing it.
Yep.
So he'll help us do the next one, I'm pretty sure. And the line I have is a man on a mission. What I'm kind of envisioning in my head is like those old 80 movies where they have like the T-shirts, but there's like, they made it cheap without some colors. I know it's a little bit like this, ironically, but like
Yep.
more like Rambo or Arnold Schwarzenegger. So we make him look like Arnold, or or James Bond or something like that, and a man on a mission because he's the mission team leader. I just thought that was
I could see it being very much impossible mission.
yeah, well, that too.
You know,
Possible
your mission,
missions.
should
That's
you
a good
choose-
line. Possible mission.
Should you choose to accept it? That type of
Your mission if you choose to accept it. Yeah, so you can see what I'm saying, right? So the playing on the mission and the movie and all those action movies, you can see where I'm going. Like it leans into it pretty well. So that's where I'm thinking, and I'd like to kind of I'll put to that to you guys. So if you have a kind of cool idea or a cool movie, think about we're using Elliot. So and we know Elliot, so we could probably, if we need him to do a pose or something, I'm pretty sure we could reach out and probably get him to do that if we really needed to. I think he'd be in on that. And so they don't have a big as team as the ship team, but that means I'm thinking if it works for the community, we might try and do like a big one and a small one every 6 months.
Well,
one for Indictus and one for AIE CitizenCon. Yeah,
it was certainly one of the things we talked about. Even with the John Crew one, is I don't know if we talked about it on stream at all, but certainly at CitizenCon, you and I were talking about doing one that, and eventually working our way through all the teams.
Because
doing the whole company in a single hit, it would break most people's bank.
Well, the ship team is one of the biggest teams, right? So we've got and that one, I was impressed how quickly the community got behind us. We got that funded in. I think we did a live stream and Paul did one, and it was done. And we get almost £1,000, and I think he got round about £300, which is about what we needed, and that's the biggest one. So if we can knock that out, then we can kind of I don't know. I just see it as a really cool thank you. They don't. Do you remember back when it started? I remember people were delivering pizza to Austin, Texas, and people would send them food and gifts and stuff. They don't get a lot of that stuff anymore, right? So, but I think a T-shirt is a bit better because it's a bit more permanence, right? The other thing is,
in fairness to that though,
we also
back in
that as well, though. Can you see that, or I can't
obviously
see?
No, you can see the back.
So all the people that donated, they get their name on the back of the shirt as well, and it's a thank you to them.
Yeah, it's at the back, just like our Patreons get listed at the back of our episodes.
So and
that was a subtle plug just for those people saying we should do it.
Well, ironically, they got 2 shirts because the printers stuffed up and they printed the wrong one, and I complained, and they said, "Do you want your money back? Or do you want to print a second copy?" And I was sitting there going, well, I'd have to contact everyone and then send all their money back to them, or just make another shirt and they get a second shirt. And I went, I think that either or people would be happy with. So I just said it'd be easier just to do a second shirt. So they ended up getting 2 shirts. And I think that's kind of cool because then they can use both. I guess I could have done a poll to all of them, but again, I would have had to manually contact them all, and you saw the names on the back. It would have taken me a while, so I just went with the second print option, and so they've all got 2 T-shirts. I think they're pretty happy with them. The ship team. Well, you saw I sent you a photo, didn't I? Hang on,
you did. It was from the X with John Crew.
Yeah, hang on.
Announcing that yes, he's finally worn it. So that was pretty cool.
That was a while ago. Hang on, I should be able to open it on stream so people can see. I don't know if the camera's going to be up because I turned them. Yeah, I'm going to have to turn the cameras back on. Hang on.
Yep.
There's you. Where the hell is me? There, well, I don't normally turn my own camera off. So yeah, there's John Crew wearing the shirt. It took him like 3 months to wear it. In the replies just below too, it was pretty funny because Ben was saying, oh, they should make it compulsory for all their reviews because they have like yearly reviews that they have to wear the shirt of their boss and stuff like that. So yeah, well, I thought that was pretty funny. But
I like that.
Yeah.
I could see Ben saying something like that.
Yeah. So
just
they really appreciated it. The gesture. The devs really appreciated it, and I think it. It's a real morale boost for them. Like that's how I saw it. But I enjoyed the bit of play, the gift. I think us as community showing that we can give something to them. I really like that element of it, and I think so I got as much out of it. And I think the people that got a shirt got something out of it, but also seeing that their shirt was worn and stuff like that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I don't know. I'd like to know more about the people that helped pay for it, what they thought of it, because I don't want to keep doing this if it's something that they don't think was valuable. But what I saw from it, I saw it as
Yep.
really valuable.
Oh, look, I think anytime you can show your appreciation to people who are doing something you enjoy is beneficial. And back in the day, you know, back in 2013, 2014, people were, you know, like you said, there'd a pile of pizzas that arrive at the studio that people have bought. But realistically, when you've got mega studios now with 1,000 odd people, it becomes
if
a bit...
we wanted to buy 30, 40 pizzas for lunch one day, I'm pretty sure you and I could get in contact and get that done if we had to. But I thought this was better because it's got permanence. And the other part of it is something kind of comes back to you. Do you know what I mean? Like, as in you can see, like, just seeing a photo of pizzas arriving. Yeah. But seeing like a reminder 6 months down the road, you'll see this shirt again. And someone will be wearing it in a video, or, you know, or they'll rock up at a Citizen Con or whatever. And you'll go, oh, I remember. Ah, you know what I mean? And that's what I wanted. Like the nostalgia bait, essentially.
Yep. No, whenever Sandy's worn the Crux Cup t-shirts, there's always people say, oh, I want one of them. I want one of them. And it's just a community created t-shirt. Which reminds me, Crux Cup is coming up. It is the 10th anniversary of Crux Cup. The Crux Cup has been running basically for 10 years. The very first Crux Cups were in Arena Commander. The 890 jump races.
So you've been running that since you were 48.
Yes. Well, 47.
Yeah. And when you
47.
say shit, like, I've been following this game since I was 30. Holy fucking shit. Like, I've been, like, I said that when we were at CitizenCon, didn't I? I've been covering this game now for a quarter of my life.
Yeah, well.
It's crazy.
20% of my life.
Yeah.
So.
But it's still crazy. Yeah. Like, it's
actually,
such a
little bit more, because I started in 2014, and it's now 25. You started in 2013?
No, I would have been 2012. Yeah.
Okay. So, end of 2012. So
yeah, it was in when it went up in November. So November, October, I think it was. So somewhere in there. Yeah.
Yep.
So, but yeah, regardless, it's just a ridiculous amount of time. I don't think I followed anything this long. You know, I did a lot of other video game coverages when I was in my team before I made games myself. Like I covered GoldenEye and Perfect Dark in the very infancy of the internet. And they were the first kind of things that I covered like this. But yeah, they only, you know, 2, 3, 4 years. I think it was 4 years I waited for Perfect Dark, and I thought that was an eternity. Not anymore.
Yeah, but like in fairness, like people complain about the length that Star Citizen's taken to come out. You know, 10 years, and it is a long time. But I can remember seeing ads at you know, the Gen Con thing where they talk about the games. You know, that one. I can never remember the name of it. But you'd see a preview for a game that was coming out, and then you wouldn't see it for 5 or 6 years. You wouldn't hear anything about it. And so a lot of the development of a lot of the games we've seen or played, but you know, we'd only see them in open beta.
So it's a lot more public facing, but they did mention a lot of that stuff with the talk in Benoit. Like, I don't think you and I are going to be able to cover everything they went over in Benoit's talk, because it was a 3-hour stream, and this is going to be a 3-hour stream. Like, we'd literally not be able to cover it all.
Yeah, let's just watch the stream together. And
but I don't know. Maybe we could do something like that this weekend. Is that's gonna be hard. Maybe we watch it together and we just summarize it as quickly as we can down to and we might release that as a supplemental or something like that.
Well, the other thing that I noticed on as I was watching the stream is CIG have very nicely broken into chapters. So they've actually broken into segments. So you can actually go to a segment. So you want to see what they talk about in terms of the chairman's letter. Click, boom, you get 10 minutes on that. And then so you can actually go to the section. So we could possibly look at it in that regard. And, but yeah, it there is a lot covered in that video. If you haven't watched it, I've only watched the first hour, and there's
a lot in it.
There's a lot in it.
There's a lot in it, and it's how do I put this? It feels a little bit like airing of dirty laundry. You know what I mean? But in a good way. Like it's like them recognizing the problems and trying to address them head on. That's what it felt like, just from what I watched. And again, I haven't watched the start of it, so I need to kind of go back and watch the start and catch up to where I was. But
Yeah, it was interesting because right at the beginning they talk about, they talk about the past and the present, and Benoit they talk about why they went for decision to do the, the 3.2.4 plus 4.0 double strand. And Benoit basically says 4.0 had got to the point where the PTU just wasn't getting the concurrency they needed for the errors. And he talked about in the past, everything runs perfect. And we've said it ourselves when we talked about PTUs. The PTU is running beautiful, goes to live, and when the back level of concurrency hits, it goes to crap.
It's the same thing in any game that gets beta tested. Yeah. They get more information when it goes live in the first 30 minutes than they could possibly ever do in 4 years of testing. Because this is the sheer number of people and sheer number of customized PCs and things like that. Yeah.
And that's basically what Benoit says. And so doing that and he said, we knew it wasn't ready to go public. We knew there were problems. We knew it was going to be a dumpster fire if it went live. So
I think they've learned that the hard way too. And I think Disco said words to this effect along the lines of it's nice when it's in the testing or PTU environment, but as soon as it goes to live, it goes from nice comments and telling us how to fix shit to completely harsh, why is your game broken? Because the people in the live environment don't get what the testers get, as in the testers are there to kind of help. And when they say live, I don't want to say it's just us here, but as well as us, it's that wider environment. It's the outsiders, the people that are just here to check in
occasionally, and see what's going on.
Their quarterly update and then leave. I think we'll do one question just real quick because it does relate to a little bit of what we're talking about here. So, socially confused, first question, as we said. With features being deprioritized, should we expect engineering this year? Now, I did see a part on this. I don't know if you did.
Mm-hmm. I probably haven't because you watched the second half and I'm still in the
that's exactly right. So, basically he said words to the effect that they're going to still work on things, but instead of having these massive teams focusing on features, most of those people will be working on stability, but they'll still have teams working on things. So there's still going to be that team working on engineering. So I have no doubt of engineering will come this year because it was set to come at the end of last year. I just how far down the road is it kicked? Is it kicked 3 months? Is it kicked 6 months? That I can't answer. But I have no doubt, knowing that it was right on the cusp, that we're pretty much going to get it.
And then the other side of it comes into what Chris said in the letter, which was not only are they going for playability, not only are they going for stability, they're also going for playability.
Yep.
And so if engineering is something that adds significantly to the playability, to the player experience, then that's going to be something that gets a higher priority than, say, something else. But fixing...
He did mention... sorry, just as related to what you're saying, Benoit did mention there was a lot of... they'll do features and chase their tails. And so as they're doing features, they'll be making more features and making more features and making more features based off what they were doing of a feature. So in a way, this is breaking that mentality of featureization. I think that is really important. But I think you kind of almost want to do it in two ways. You have people working on features and people working on stability, and that's what I'm hearing.
Yeah. And it's a bit like, people would say, or people I know would complain, the Million Mile High Club is broken. You can't get into it. It's a bug. It doesn't work. The lift doesn't work. But it's one of those, I see it, as nice as it would be to have it up. It's fluff. It's fluff for those people who've got it. It's got no gameplay aspect in terms of, apart from bragging rights. It's not something that it should be, so far down the pecking list, but it's one of the last things that gets touched just because it's insignificant. And so you've got that aspect when you're doing bugs. One of the things Benoit talked about earlier is also they initiated this Joker card, and they'd highlight the hot point spots in where trouble was, and then give a department the Joker card. And that meant they could call on any department, any faction, anywhere in a company and say, we need this to fix this problem. And they'd get priority. So it's like, so that's one of the ways that they move forward to try and fix things.
We used to call that blackjack, but yeah, it's the same principle. Yeah.
Yeah. And it makes sense, you know, that when you highlight something that's really impacting that player engagement or player enjoyment, or, you know, one of those deal breaker bugs, you can fix it. And he said some of the times they found bugs that went right back into the actual original code, and they had to, you know, really work on fixing those things up. So
the last thing I want to talk about is something that you and I kind of had worked out, but also had rumors about for a very long time. Was this gentleman?
Yep.
And they have added Emeritus to his thing, and Emeritus essentially translates to memorial title, so to speak. So we don't know if he's kind of retired or quit or being let go or whatever, but either way, I'd say it's along the lines of retired, because that's a pretty, it's similar to like what do you call it, the like the word legatus and stuff, like it's Roman, you know, or Greek or whatever you want to call it. So it's a, I don't know. Hang on, I'll read it here. So Emeritus means retired, but still honored with the title, often as a sign of respect and past contributions.
Yep. It's certainly not something you do if you fire someone. So it's certainly not that. We'd heard rumors.
At least a couple of years now, hadn't we?
Yeah. We'd heard rumors that he'd got crook. We'd heard rumors that he was taking a back seat. We'd heard multiple rumors.
Well, there's even the thing about them kind of moving to Manchester too. So we've heard stuff across the board. That could be for any reasons, and his reasons are really his own. Let's be honest. But you know, it's kind of good to put it to bed, so to speak.
I think the advantage of that is it says, A, he's valued. We're still on good terms.
Yeah. And
usually that idea is that he's someone who we can still call on, and he's quite happy to do that. So, yeah.
Don't start yawning this early, Algared.
It'd be shocking. That's why I muted myself. I was
like, if he's yawning, I'll be joining him very shortly. So
yeah. No, yawns are contagious. They're horrible.
Yeah. Especially when you get up this early. But yeah.
But I think I think that's a good thing. I think it's good to see going forward. The question I suppose it raises is, does that mean the economy system is going to take a brand new step, or is it still going? And that's yet to be seen. I hope it stays as it is.
That's where a lot of the rumors came from, because it was people talking about stuff that he should have been talking about, and other people were talking about it. And so, and that was like the last couple of Citizen Cons. So that again goes to what we heard from a couple of years ago, that he had stepped out. But you know, hats off, 07s to Tony. I'm sure he carried the baton to a certain level, and now someone will finish the race, so to speak.
We've seen other people do something similar and then come back. We saw Sandy step back from being an upfront face and just go back into doing her own thing. And yet every so often she's come back in and taken a more hands-on leadership role. And you know, sometimes people need to take that break for their health and for their well-being, and that could have been.
Oh, heaven forbid we consider them human. Oh my God.
I know, radical idea. You know, but you know, we don't know what the case is, but in terms of Tony, but I think this bodes well in terms of a relationship between Star Citizen or CIG and Tony anyway. So
I think probably one of the reasons they took so long to kind of probably announce this is because he would have been seen as a really big loss, much like when Todd Pappy went. Right? Can you imagine? Because they know how loved this guy was. Like in a lot of ways, I would say he was probably more loved than Todd, and I mean that as in like, whenever he talked, people were absolutely captivated, and he didn't talk very often. You can go back across the I think I'd have to go check, but like the big videos, probably only 4 or 5 really big ones of Tony across the whole time he was there.
I think part of it is because his passion would show through, just like Chris's does. You know,
in a way, they were very kindred spirits, and that very first video that they did in 2014 really reflected that. So yes, I agree with your statement.
Well, they both came from the same, origins in terms of origin. Yep. They both were Origin and Anvil and back in the day, and Tony was one of the people who worked on the initial shards for what was it? Ultima Online.
Yep.
And when we talk about shards, that's basically something that came directly out of that background of that company. So much that we see and we talk about in games these days is linked significantly to either Tony or Chris.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right, we'll move on. But yeah, 07s to Tony, thanks for your service. I guess I'll call it that. Lazarus says, question, do you think we will be able to use the MSR to hack other ships? It does have a hacking element. I would say from what we heard back in the day, and again, this is not something me and Algared have looked up in a long time, unless you have, but I always remembered as the Herald, and the Herald was a hacking ship too. It was just a bigger Herald, from my memory. So yeah, I'd say yes.
Yeah, well, if you go back to the original introduction of the MSR, with the duo,
Algared, we're gonna have to fund you tranquilizers. Just like a gun, or just lots of steak, just something to keep that thing at bay. It'd be great.
Well, that unfortunately are the neighbours' dogs at the back.
Okay, so, so the pound, right? Okay, we get the pound involved.
Yep. As opposed to the two Havanese, actually, that one sounds like.
Oh, I remember what that one sounds like. Yeah,
that one sounds like Suki. But yeah.
No, I know it's not your fault.
So, yeah,
it's all right. I'm just giving you shit. You know what I'm like.
Yeah, I know you are.
Yeah,
it's just
yeah. So back to the question, MSR. Sorry, I just
you've got the cats that walk across the street. I've got the
but the cats don't make noise. They're silent. They allegedly they know Dad's working. They're just like, hey, I'm also hungry. But yeah.
Yep.
Right. You were saying about the MSR before I rudely interrupted you. The hacking.
But from the very first introduction, they were hackers. And we've got the computer systems for holding information. So even if you go down and manually hack stuff, you've got the space to actually store your computers. You've got those massive computers and stuff. So yeah, I fully could see that.
Legionnaire will be in there as well, and I don't think that's the last we'll see of hacking ships. We've long theorized a much bigger hacking ship, like a Corvette or something to that akin to that. And I think much like E-Warfare, how they've mentioned also with like the Quantum Downs and the QED, them appearing on bigger ships. I think that's similar to what will happen down the line. I just don't think we've seen those ships yet. So yeah, I don't know. I hope that answers your question.
When I said no, I'm not disagreeing with you.
I know what you meant. I
I was saying that for the audience.
Yeah, so I hope that answers your question, Lazarus, because it's probably a bit more broader than what you wanted answered. So yeah. Citizen Ninja, do you think we might see the Grey Cat UTV as an unannounced LTI token this year? We better. Because man, that's what, 2 years out now from when it was announced?
Yep. It'd be good to see that, and I'm getting to the point where I want to go and throttle the dogs.
Yeah.
So, yes.
Yeah. I think the other thing is it's obviously one of those low priority ones now. Algared, I got to ask, just because we can do this live to try and fix it for everyone. Is if you go into, you can see my screen obviously.
Yep.
If you go in, I muted myself. Wrong thing. If you go into this filter, do you have a noise suppression one on?
Where is that one?
So the 3 little dots on your microphone, then you'd go down to filters, and then you want to put on noise suppression. And you just want to use the double N
The
or is
RN
one.
noise double. Yep, that is on.
And the dog is gone.
No, but it was on.
Yeah, it was on?
Yeah.
Huh. I was going to say, I can't hear the dog anymore. You sure it was on?
Oh, well, that was on.
Oh, no, now I can hear the dog again. Right. Yep, there she is. Muzzle time. Right.
Yep.
It's all good. All right. So, yeah, Grey Cat UTV, Algared. Anything else you want to add to that, or do you want to move on to the next one?
No, it'd be nice to see that.
I was going to say I think it would be a low priority task, kind of like what they did with the X1.
Yep.
I think the dog disagrees with me, but yeah, that's fine.
I
Right.
think the dog did, but yeah.
Yeah. Monster Avery says, how long do you think will take them to get things stable enough to play events like this and Horizon without becoming irritating and having to retry due to bugs? Server meshing, dynamic is what I would say would be the thing. They could basically have an entire server just for the event on a server. So by putting it out away from things, it would be on its own server. So that would stabilize it some. But to, again, that dynamicness, then they could have 3 or 4 servers just for the one. So I think about the one, you know, you right, Agrid?
Yeah, I'm just going to disappear and see if I can silence the beast.
Please do. So I was thinking about the one where you go out to, it was out at Mikel 1. So you could almost have a server for the one at the actual station, and then another server where you had to fly out to grab the boxes and that from. So they could do that. But again, once you start to visualize how dynamic works, it'll be just so much more stable because it'll be able to scale itself to fit the number of people. And I think that's really important. So I would assume that would be the break point. So yeah. Lady Space Patrol says, when would they stop fixing bugs and return to the mission features? When it's more stable, obviously. But how long is that stability? So how stable do you want to make it? And I think a lot of the stability will, as I said, come with dynamic server meshing. Why would they stop? They are changing the discussion. I do not believe this is about bug fixing. It is about energizing or reinvigorating on a product they said, or reneging on a product they sold. They can now just indefinitely ignore all the things for which they were paid and just claim it is because they are stabilizing the current product.
Mm-hmm.
How is making something more stable reneging?
Yep.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Lady Space Troll. You'll have to follow up question or statement. But is that because you think that means we're going to get less features now? Is that your thing? Like it's like, okay, we're just going to stop where we are and make it good, and that's all you're getting. Is that what I'm hearing? Because that's what it sounds like. But I don't want to put words in your mouth. I just want to, if you hear me, Lady Space Patrol, just we'll keep eyes on chat. But
we'd love to see your clarification of that.
Yeah, you only got half the question, but do you want to just read that for yourself? Again, it says, because I basically read the first part before you got here. Basically, why would they stop making features and essentially just start working on stabilizing? And I think it's because they've realized that at some point, they kind of said, Bedwar said it himself, like, the game's pretty good when it works, but if it was just more stable, it would be more repetitively playable. And that's kind of the problem at the moment. You can't really do anything for kind of can't see the forest for the trees. So if we could actually play what we've got now a lot better and then build on that, that would be a lot too. One of the things Benoit mentioned is they don't like to redo things. You and I've talked about this many times. And he's just said, we've got to fix it and then build it, because it's at that point now where they've got so many people that they're not used to how game development works. And because it's public facing, they just kind of can't do that anymore. I think it's them recognizing that they've gone and self-reflected. That's what it feels like.
Yep. No, 100% agree. There's that element where fixing the bugs actually helps, especially if they're bugs which are causing problems. So some of the issues I had with bugs was the replication of data. So one of the problems I found for why Pyro was so laggy is the planets actually had a massive spawn radius.
Yep.
And so what you ended up having is multiple objects would be respawned in the memory on multiple servers.
Yeah.
Which that constant repetition and accumulation of stuff was actually causing things to stuff up. That led them to see things like the collision of items. That led them to see, where in a system a destroyed turret stays there, and then when it respawns, it's got the old destroyed turret plus the new one.
Yeah.
You destroy that, then you've got 2 destroyed turrets plus a new one.
Yeah.
And that was just constantly building up.
Yeah.
So fixing that bug actually fixes a whole host of issues. One of the things you did say is they're committed to a 15 to 20 frames per second limit. They've got a 30 millisecond draw is what they kind of limit themselves to. Some of those problems were chewing up 15, 20 milliseconds of their time.
Absolutely.
So,
I told you there was like what's that? We've got an episode in the bank about the reclaimer. Remember that? And I said there is clearly some kind of junk issue where, like, when we were around the stations, no matter where we were, Grim Hex, whatever, it was laggy as shit. And then when we got away, and I went, it's an entity problem. They're having so many entities here that are just not being removed, and it's stockpiling up and just causing this clog of shit.
So one of the things, and that's one of the things they did with the physics grid is where they had collisions. The collisions would stay there. But now, as they did with their Joker draw card, the physics will now, the code will now escalate and say, okay, we recognize this issue, which it was already doing.
Yeah.
But now it escalates it and says, okay, this needs fixing. And so now either erases it, erases the offending, so ship and debris. Which one gets removed? The debris either gets moved, erased, or something like that. But that type of thing actually makes our life easier, but it also fixed up the game and fixed up bugs that will keep showing up.
Lady Space Patrol was on Twitch. I have not got a reply from her, so we might have to come back to that one at a later date. So
going back to Monster Avery's question from before about the planets and places like Orison being stable enough. It's interesting that Benoit talked about early on that originally they'd have 2 servers.
Yep.
With about 400 player base between, spread between them. They've now got basically 5 servers per system.
Yeah.
So that's
pretty good.
Basically 5 for standard.
1 for each planet.
Pyro.
1 for each planet and 1 for space. If it was standard, that's kind of where my brain's going.
Yep. One for the space server. Exactly. 1 for the space server, and then 4 for the planets, basically.
Yeah.
And then initially Pyro had massive radius draws for its stuff, which is why it was more laggy than Stanton, because it was constantly redoing that. But that's enabled them to get to a point where I think they've got.
You got to remember, they're learning this on the fly too, right? You got to give them a bit of a grace. Like, server meshing's kind of never been done in that way. Knowing what the limits are, like, do they put it right around the planet, or do they make it? They're learning. They're moving on their feet.
So they're doing the radius scale to make sure it works, and they're now looking at, they've established that a player cap of 500 with kind of normal with 600 max type thing is what they're looking at per server. But that's a lot of people if you're looking at 5 servers per system.
Yep.
So that's a massive increase from just basically 2 servers. So
and you'll be able to drop that over time too, because as time goes on, if we're going to have 100 systems, if you then take those same number of people and spread them over all the, you know what I mean, right? So you could probably end up going down to 1 server per system, but I'm not, like, we don't know how long that's going to take. So it'll change. They'll be still moving on their feet as they build out all the systems.
And this relates to Lady Space Patrol's question as well, because that's kind of bug related.
Yep.
Some of the bugs require specialist people. So they get pushed down, not because they don't want to fix it, just because it's just not efficient to do it.
Priority orders.
Others like ATCs, ASOPs, transit systems, they're proprietary old tech. And in some cases, the technicians or people who originally created it and worked on it aren't there. So you've got to actually, they are long-term, deep dive, sink your teeth. They're horrible vorpal bunnies. They're nasty and scary, and like transitive verbs and other things like that in language. So I think it's that type of, they're the types of things that come in. So yeah.
I like this one. Socially Confused says, question, the downside of fixing the missions is that you won't be able to blame Elliot anymore and don't know if that is worth the fix. I have once reached out to Elliot in absolute frustration. You need to fix this shit. Because I was just so pissed. And I now every time I think about it, I just don't. Because I don't want to be pestering him and annoying him. But like I don't know, Pete. Have you ever reached out to Elliot and said, "This is damn annoying. Fix this shit"? Because again, like he more than locally knows about it, right? But he just can't fix it because of the limitations of what he's got to work with at the moment.
It's the same thing we heard from QA.
Yeah.
When people say, "Why don't you fix this bug? Why?" And the response was, "We know it's there.
Yeah.
We've seen it. We've documented it. We know it's there." But then the question is, what order of priority is it? And also then, how difficult is it to fix? Can we fix it, really quickly, or is it going to take 6 months to do?
Socially Confused said, next t-shirt, it's all Elliot's fault. What if you just go, mission failed, thanks Elliot?
Well, that'd be a great t-shirt for Elliot.
Yeah, we make that just for him. He gets a custom one. Everyone else gets this other one. Yeah. That'd be so good. Yeah, I still think the one, Pete, you need to show people that shirt that you made for Elliot, because that's so good. He made a shirt. I haven't shown it to anyone, and I won't show it to anyone. He asked me not to, but it is a brilliant t-shirt, and I would buy it in a heartbeat. So yeah, he needs to get around to doing that. Judas keeps telling, Pistol Pete says, Judas keeps telling to fix missions, so he keeps on going into the Jira and deprioritizing it to troll him.
Well,
Judas is PC 101, by the way, but yeah.
Interestingly, Benoit was talking, and I'm pretty certain he said that a lot of the stuff they were doing was not on Jira anymore.
Yeah.
So yes, you go into Jira to deprioritize it, doesn't make any difference because it's not being used. At least that seems to be the impression I get. Anyway, SB Dyson says, just double check, is there a question? Yes. So because they said it on SCL, are we likely to see a 1.0 that is basically a stable version of what we have now and an engineering and base building? How can they release 1.0 with Squadron 42?
Sorry,
two questions.
I'm replying to messages. Sorry, you take that one. I'll read
so the first question is based on what they learned in terms of doing a 3.24 plus 4.0, and there certainly were benefits of that, because Benoit, the analytics seem to say, or the information they got indicated that even though 3.24 was there, and Disco said it doesn't make sense because who's going to play 3.24 when 4.0 is right there? And Benoit said, surprisingly, the statistics indicated that 3.24 was something that quite a few people were still playing. Whether it was just because they couldn't get into 4.0, whether it was because of bugs, whether it was, but then there was also a lot more information they were able to draw, because that player count in 4.0 was significantly higher than they were able to get in the PTU. And he said the PTU, he actually talked about the clock ticking at one point.
Yeah.
And he said, we got to the point where the PTU version was not giving us any new information. It had reached the limit that it could give us. And so at that point, you almost have to push it live or do something to get there. And yet, because 4.0 had so many new aspects to it, they knew it wasn't ready, and so they made that decision to split, to have both streams going at the same time. Whether they do that again is yet to be seen, but I think it'd depend on what they were adding and whether it was lots of new tech like server meshing. And
I think the other part you want to add is, if we have to kind of take ourselves out of the situation, we need to look at this as into a new person coming into the game. And a lot of people's first experiences are a massive turn-off, right? So if you kind of think about, you've got Squadron 42 coming out, and you've got 1.0 coming, you want those to be your best foot forwards as possible, right? Now, do they keep pushing where they're going with Star Citizen and it's a buggy mess when Squadron comes out? Or do they take what they already have, make it as stable as possible? So you've only got to go watch one of those new streamers, like not a new streamer, but like someone that comes to the game every 3 to 6 months, right? And I can think there's a myriad of people. Think of any of those, what's his name? Summit 1G, any of those, people that have like 3,000 plus people watching them. When they rock up, that's a lot of people's first impression, right? So the impression they're having is very similar to what a new person's going to have. So if they turn up and they're playing the game and going, oh, this runs pretty well. Oh, this is pretty good, right? People are going to go, oh, it might be my time to play the game, right? Now, it won't be as feature-rich as finally intended, but if it's running really well and you can build on top of that, so it's a game you can actually play as they build it, that is a lot better way to be, especially in a lot. It works behind the scenes, having it all broken and shit, but now we're moving into a territory where we're going to be forward-facing a lot more than we've been, because once Squadron's out, we're out in the world, we're out in the wild. We have to put that impression's been made. We now need to maintain that impression. So it's almost like putting, Paul would be the best person to talk about this one, like it's the marketing cap. Putting that on, like the dollars are on the line. If we want to keep this thing funded and going, it's got to be stable.
It's got to be stable, and it's got to be smooth, and it's got to meet what people want.
Yep.
And that's and when you think of the concurrent players, like every year, we'd ask that question. You look at the analytics, and the concurrent players that they have playing is constantly going up.
Yeah.
And it's no longer that small base of a couple of thousand. It's in the hundreds of thousands of people.
Like Pissball Pete says, 120 gig. It's not a small game anymore. It's quite large.
No.
And if we're looking at 2 systems of 120 gig, could we crack the 1 terabyte mark? I reckon we could. I really do. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, unfortunately, limited respawns. They are fixing the car while it is being driven, but that is that was a decision that was made fairly early on in terms of the development, to be open.
What the hell is it?
To let us see what's going on.
I can't believe I can't remember the name of it, but it was the Eternal Engine. That the train, that sci-fi show with the train. The one where the train can't stop and it keeps people alive. Man, it was on. They did it as a Netflix series, but I can't for the life remember what it's called. But it's that literally. They have to keep the train maintained and going on the track because the world's really, really cold and it's a perpetual engine.
It's Snow Train, I think.
No, not Snow Train. Snow Pisser. That's it. Snow Pisser. Yeah, that's it. That's the one.
That's the one. I knew there was snow in it.
Yeah, snow. Yeah, lots of snow. Yeah, that's how I can.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, I saw what you did there. You thought you slipped it by me.
No, I didn't slip away. I knew you'd know. Anyway, yeah, see, everyone knew what I was talking about, because I'm not an idiot. But yeah, it is a bit like Snowpiercer. I think that's a really good way to refer to it. We are on the train now. Tough shit, that's where we are. We've got to live in that situation. We are that far along that we just have to keep going. Because if we stop, it's all going to fall apart. Yeah. So their choice now is to let's slow the train, do a bit of maintenance. Otherwise, it's just going to take even longer to fix.
Yeah,
that's how I see it.
We're the people way back at the back carriage. We don't even have any idea what's going on. We just know we're on this train.
Yeah, and the developers are right up the front. What are we?
The developers are way at the front.
Actually, I'd say we're probably somewhere in the middle. Actually, I'd say most casuals are right at the back. But yeah. But you've got to take care of the whole train.
Yeah.
And
you can't drop off a carriage because then
Yeah. From what Jared said in the stream, he gets that a lot of this hardcore people understand. We're giving them a lot of leeway. We've learned about how game development's worked over the last 13 years they've been doing this or whatever. But it's those people that turn up and they're the Call of Duty player that only turns up once every 12 months to have a crack at it and go, oh, this is a heap of shit, full of bugs, and they leave, right? They don't want that anymore. They want to bring those people into the fold, and I think they've realized I'm going to be honest, I reckon now I think about it, I wonder if this has got anything to do with it. Hang on, what was it? Yeah, this thing. That one, and then this one did this kind of come on, load. That actually was that a wake up call? What do you think? That made them think like, shit, what did we do wrong?
Yeah. What did we do wrong that we were ahead of the curve, and then all of a sudden we were below the curve of where?
Ironically, they look at January. Holy shit, biggest January ever.
Yeah. And February is, not insignificant at the moment either, considering it's only 8 days in.
Yeah.
Look, as I said heaps of times, in terms of the funding for last year, as long as they cover the bills, it does not matter. It does not matter if they make 100 million less or make 100 million more.
Pete's complaining against Galaxy. Pete, you've got a CCU. Just sit on it and wait. And there are people, like when we did the tier list yesterday, there were people that called the Galaxy S tier. There was only one of them, but they called it S tier. So everyone's got different interpretations of ships, of where they are and stuff like that. And I don't think any of us, no matter who you are, even people that work at CIG, can make that call until that thing is in and like the game's kind of what we'd call release cadence, all the features of that ship are in. And so we're going to have ships that are out now that are not going to be the same in 10 years' time.
Yeah.
So
Carrick. It's a classic example. Every all the features it's got.
Every ship in the game.
Yeah.
I was going over with someone yesterday about they didn't even realize about how all the switches are going to have and I just picked one area. I said there are so many features in ships that we don't understand and that have been talked about in a brief snippet and then never mentioned again. Like how I talked about all the switches, like how we're going to be able to manually press them all. And I said it's not as simple as that either, because a Drake button is very different to an Origin button. And then your RSI button is different again. So every manufacturer is going to
have a different layout.
Might even have custom animations. They're definitely going to have custom effects.
Yeah.
So you then apply that, and then you apply that not just, let's just pick one. So you go Drake, but what's a Drake cutter compared to a Kraken? You see what I mean? They're going to have different buses and switches and animations, and it's insane.
And it's not, and you're picking up the animations, which is important because Chris has always been for that, wanting it to be immersive, and so he wants you to press the buttons. He wants you to be pressing the buttons, but he also wants you to press the button to see the hand go out and press the button.
So what Pete just said is it was mine and your fault, because we went and talked to Ben and John, and he reckons the funding dropped after the Galaxy problem. That's what he just said. In those so many words, that's what he basically said. So it's our fault. So they're never going to talk to us again.
All right, so that says Inforunners, kill them.
You tell me right now, do you reckon it would have been worse to come out the way it did with me and you? Or do you reckon it would have been worse if they waited, made the entire thing, and then it came out?
Yeah, and Cockatoo got hold of it. Yeah,
we helped them. That is nipped it in the butt before it really became a problem. If they put in all that development time and made all that shit and then realized they had to change it, that would have been far worse. So I think at the end of the day, they may hate us for a bit, but we saved them. If they would look back on it in hindsight, and again, if they don't talk to us again, I still see that as helping them. I don't think they will do that, because that's not how me and Algared are. We're not hostile. We're here to help.
I think the fact that when we talked to them, it wasn't we want to do an interview, we want to crucify you. It was just a talk and a chat, and I think one of the things that I took away was, realistically, if it's not in game or they haven't sold it, they're not bound to do it. It's not something that they must do. So. And
Dafty Digit. I want to get you and Pissball Pete together for a brainstorming session on those shirts too. So Pissball Pete knows Elliot pretty well, and he's got some pretty cool ideas. So if we can get Dafty Digit and you together, even if just for an hour or so, so I'll work out a time real soon so we can get some shirts done. Algared, you're more than welcome to join if you want as well. You don't have the free time I do.
Clearly
at 4 a.m. A lot of people saying it's our fault. But honestly, I had a lot of people reach out to me and say thanks for that, and I had a lot of people saying we should have been taking more credit for it, but that's not why we do. Well, I don't know. We've had several things like that over the years, though, haven't we, Algared? Like the I just remember the one with Paul and us with the Stanton's tiny whiny thing.
Yep, teeny weeny. Yeah.
And then someone went and made a post like 4 hours after our video came out and took all the credit. it is what it is.
But even saying that, that was something that, Paul and I are going, people don't get it. People have no idea the scope of this game.
Yeah.
Like even now, people still have no idea of the scope of this game.
And that information is public knowledge. It's just that people, it's like what we say about, that's why we bring up a lot of things in Hangerlink a lot of the time, because you can see a Merlin and then you can see a Javelin and you don't get the sense of scale. But then as soon as you pull them up in a Hangerlink and you're like, oh shit. Right? Yeah. So I'm always, one of the things I've always said to Algared, whenever I show someone the game, I'm always trying to show them the scale, because that's where people go, you just realize straight away, this isn't every other game.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I like about IAE. I've taken my nephews for IAE, and we walk through on Anvil Day, and we walk up and you say, little fight. And then they go into the main hall and they see that Reclaimer there, and it's like, I can get on that. And you say, oh yeah, that's not even the biggest ship.
Yeah. I'm just checking my recollection because I'm reading some things in chat. Yeah. When they told us about the Galaxy stuff, do you remember me saying words to the effect of that's going to kick up a hornet's nest?
I think so.
I'm pretty sure I did. I did.
I'm pretty certain you did raise that, because the first question was, but
but that means it's I basically said it's going to be our first double up, and he said, and that's when he said the manufacturing thing, and then after we realized what he'd said, I went, oh, that's going to kick up a hornet's nest. I'm pretty sure I said something.
It sounds like something you do. It sounds like it would have fit in the conversation. Do I have a
exact wording saying it? Exact wording might not be that, but I'm pretty sure I let them know it wasn't going to be received world, is what I'm trying to say.
It was certainly something that was there, and I know that
socially confused was there. Apparently I did.
There you go. Apparently you did.
Or maybe I said that on the live stream just after, and so maybe I had better recollection back then. So,
so watch our live stream, which we did pretty much straight after that. Because that's probably got us more up to speed as to where it was and what was actually said at the time. But I do know that they talked about the fact that they'd never actually sold the manufacturing plant for the Galaxy, and as a result of that, they weren't. They didn't need to be committed to that.
I think the part that you and I kind of missed that I think would have changed the discussion a lot if we brought up the stuff about the slides with Todd Pappy, because at that moment I was trying to retain everything that we were taking in, and I wasn't always out facing. But if I'd been just that question and nothing else, I would have thought about Todd Pappy and talking about the building. But my instant recollection was, people brought the Galaxy for base building, and now you're telling them they're going to have to buy something else. And I just went, oh, that's not going to be received well. But I didn't have the evidence to go back and say, but what about this, John? Or what about this, Ben? And obviously that's what came out after we found out what we found out.
Yeah, and it was clear as to why, you can see that's why people were having that frustration, because we'd been told somewhere that the Galaxy would be that. But when you looked at the markets page for the Galaxy, it wasn't listed as a base builder. It was listed as a manufacturing plant. And it was only as you looked at the CitizenCon slides with Todd Pappy where it was just, and here are our base building ships. And there was a Galaxy sitting there amongst them.
Yeah.
So it may not have been specifically said, hey, it's going to be the base builder, but it was certainly...
It was just the way, it was heavily implied with the way the slides were done. And I still think the fix is make it so the Galaxy builds ships and stuff and vehicles, and the builder actually builds buildings. I think that would be a really good compromise. And I think if you look at the two ships, the Galaxy with the elevator and the hangar on the back is a lot better position to build vehicles, and obviously having a hangar to build ships, and having a ship in space that can pop out a Pisces-sized ship is not shit. Also, not only that, it could literally build the vehicle that builds buildings.
Yeah.
So,
and and the fact that every ship can actually carry that little trolley that can build the small buildings.
Yeah.
you don't need a Galaxy
Yeah.
or a build to do that.
Well, you'd have to assume. I don't know exactly how the credence goes here, right? But I would assume the build being, what would you say that that's below? I'd say it's below the Galaxy slightly based on size. Or wait, it's the Star Lancer. Actually, let's just, instead of thinking about it, let's just
we can pull up the hanger link.
The hanger link, and we'll do it that way. All right, hanger link.
But there's also that element where they talked about ships that are specifically geared to a task are better than ships that are module.
Yeah, so that means the build will be better than the Galaxy.
So the build will probably be better than the Galaxy because the Galaxy was always modular, and that's something that's not new. That wasn't something that was new that they said. That just confirms stuff that you and I have said for years.
I think that was the real big takeaway about CitizenCon as a whole. We had so many speculations that we were dead on with. That's what, even in that first that first thing, and the number of developers I talked to would say all that shit you speculated on, bang, 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 or they'd say this and bang, 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 and it was just blew my mind that we'd been really accurate. Like I thought we would be way off the mark, but there was a lot we were right on. So there is a size difference. That said, they are in the same size class. This is, hang on, let me double check. I'm also gonna bring in the Apollo because that is the smallest in that size class. Reference.
Yep.
And that will add to that. Oh, fuck. Okay, so it is a lot bigger.
Doesn't help at all.
No, it does help. And the Andromeda is in the middle of the road, so we'll bring that in as well. Excuse my burping. I'm having a bit of acid reflux, badly. It's not good, not pleasant. So this shows it is in the same size class as the Galaxy. Because these are the size below. Now, technically, they are on the same pad, but it's akin to, say, the Apollo and the Caterpillar. Like I brought in the Caterpillar. The biggest ship in this size class is the Carrack at 128.
Yeah,
and so that puts that akin to it up near here. So they are in a different class to these ones, but these two are akin to size, is what I'm trying to say.
So. And I think the fact that, one's modular, which means, yes, it can do more. You can actually equip it for more. But the fact that the other one is specialized, I think the specialist will actually be better in the long term. But if you want that versatility, the Galaxy kind of is your option. I like the Galaxy. I like the look of it. It does look like a corn chip. But I also like the look of the Star Lancer. So
I think we could agree, though, just looking at that the Galaxy is probably still a bit bigger.
Yep.
You've definitely got more height, more width.
Yep.
And you've obviously got roughly an additional 20 meters in length. Yes, there is a diamond head, but also there's a diamond head on the Star Lancer. And you've also got, again, if you essentially look at the Galaxy, it's a giant tube like most of the MISS ships, if you cut off the engines, where the engine's here at the back. So essentially, like most RSI ships, it becomes a bit shorter. But for argument's sake, would you agree volumetrically the Galaxy is bigger?
I definitely think the Galaxy is bigger, but I think the actual workspace, the module, is going to be the thing that counts. And the fact that they've always said that module ships tend to be good at various things, but they're not as good as the specialists.
But if they both
indicate,
but if they both end up doing the same thing and they just become base builders and they don't do the manufacturing thing, because that's how they could take the manufacturing thing and make this a shipbuilder. And I would have no problem with that. I think a lot of people would be annoyed, but if you allowed people to switch between the two, like a $0 CCU for a limited time, I think that would relieve a lot of it as well. There's ways to mitigate it.
As you call that, it's the Buccaneer treatment.
Well, the one thing that would suck is if you bought the pack for this.
Yeah.
You'd have to have some kind of refund a credit, so not refund a cash, but refund a credit and then allow them to switch over and something like that. It's not a position that they can't maneuver out of. In fact, I think it's a good way to learn to be a bit more maneuverable when it comes to moving between packs. I think a lot more people would be happy if you gave them options. It's not about giving refunds. I don't think people are right. Some people would be out there going, I want a refund because I'm pissed. But I think if you give them an option to pivot into the ship that they were actually trying to buy, they'd be a lot more happy about that. And not just give them one option, but give them multiple outs, so to speak.
Give options. And look, I think whenever you give options, people are happier.
Yes.
I noticed a comment in YouTube chat from Chris that says, doesn't the Galaxy only have one medical module and the Apollo has two? Yes.
Yes.
But in a weird sense, the Galaxy is... They've got... Both of them got pluses and minuses. The Galaxy has 1 tier 1 bed, 2 tier 2, 3 tier 3.
Oh, the reason I was bringing the Apollo, there was a scale thing. It was nothing to do with medical. The Apollo is the smallest... What size is it? S4. Smallest S4. Yep. And the ship in front of that is the mole. So it literally goes mole, then Apollo. That's where the divide is at the moment. Right. And they do move them. Like it used to be Freelancer, now it's Legionnaire in the mediums. But anyway. So
at the moment, the Apollo is the smallest of that class, and the Connie is the largest of that class. Yep. When we go up the next level, the Star-Lancer Max and the Galaxy are kind of... And we have things that break their own metrics now too. Like they moved the Spirit up a size because it wasn't working so well on the medium pad that it's meant to be on. So it just gets all really confusing. But there is a metrics kind of behind the scenes that they don't talk about. But you can see it based on pad size. And but I do want to address that question they raised because both of those ships are similar and yet different. The Galaxy has all 3 beds all the time when it's got its medical module, which means you can go anywhere and you can deal with every type of injury, etc. The Apollo has 2 medical modules. Each module could take either 1 top tier bed, 2 mid tier beds, or 3 low tier beds. So it cannot have all 3 beds at the same time. That's the advantage the Galaxy has. The plus of the Apollo is you could have 2 top tier beds instead of 1, or you could have 4 second tier beds instead of just 2 or 6. So versatility of one of it or one of everything is essentially what it is. So you get that ability to choose versus the ability to have everything. And when you go up to the next level of the Endeavour, that's going to be a massive full-on hospital. So, but that's the difference between those ships, and it. In some sense, the Apollo is great because it's smaller and it gives you those options. But the Galaxy also gives you that I've got a mini hospital. So, okay. I don't think there's much more I want to add into that. Nope. I don't know. I see it as a positive take overall. Looking back at things on hindsight, that would have been a lot harder to deal with further down the line. I think nipping it in the butt where it was nipped, like as soon as it was made aware. I think John Crew did a really good job. He realized what had happened. He confronted it head on, and he addressed it within 24 hours. That's a response. That's not sitting on his laurels going, "No, stuff you." He actually just got out there and fixed it. And I think the other aspect is the fact that it had been raised directly with him, so it wasn't where's this coming from. It was actually something that they became aware of as a community, and then had time to So whereas some things that pop up, it's like, where the hell, where did this come from? Yeah. Why are they ranting? But yeah, I'm interested to see where that goes. And I think the thing for the Galaxy, what I was going to say too, is because that technically can have a medium vehicle inside, and as an Ursa sized, if you can make a vehicle that does base building, just how big a building could that build if they did make? I don't think they are. From based on what they've said, I think they're going to literally make it a copy. But I would have preferred this to be a ship and vehicle builder, and that be a base builder. And I think that would have made the Galaxy even better, to be honest. I don't know about you. Personally, I prefer a ship that builds vehicles and ships over a ship that builds buildings, because there's going to be, like,
from what you and I saw at CitizenCon, and I know everyone watching saw the same, base building is going to be such a big thing in this game, and there's going to be so many things that can actually build buildings, but not so many that can directly build ships and vehicles.
Yep.
You'll have to build a building to then build. Do you know what I mean?
I also wonder, like, in terms of, we saw with shipbuilding, you know, the idea of, I want to build this ship, I've got to get the blueprint for this ship, I've got to do missions to get that blueprint, I do that one, now I've got to get missions to get that blueprint.
Yeah.
I can actually see the same type of thing coming through in terms of the buildings. I've got my base building, I want to now build,
Yep,
and they hinted that with the Starbase. They hinted that with the Starbase. I now need the blueprint for the AA turret or the
well, again, it's like
it's
like specializations you and I talked about, right? You are not just going to come out and go, I'm a base builder. It's going to more likely be, I'm a base builder of combat buildings, I'm a base builder of medical stuff, because you're going to literally need all the patterns that you can possibly get your hands on. And you might be someone, say you're in an org, you might be offered a base building blueprint, but you don't do base building, but you will buy it to give it to the guy in your org so he can do it.
Yeah.
It is an it is an org level profession, or in my opinion. And the more you go up, the bigger it's going to branch out.
And the harder it'll be to go. Yeah. I know from every MMO, you know, you'd have one person who'd say, you know, focus on cloth armor, and they would have tailoring up to, you know, skill level 1,000.
Yeah. First time shadow there, Algared. So we'll do these ones on Twitch. So cut to the front of the line. This mech rider says, Inforunners, will the Crucible do repairs and manufacturing? The only thing we've kind of got to go on is the fabrication thing in the Ironclad Assault. And it's really hard to say where that's going to go because things have changed. But based on what they said, it's entirely possible. I'm not going to say Ironclad, this is exactly as it's going to be. But based on what they've said, yeah, it's entirely possible that that becomes partially manufacturing. But again, when you look at the Ironclad Assault, the module in that was only really big enough to build components. So I'd assume as a part of repairing, yes, you have some kind of manufacturing, but it's related to what you're doing. So it'll be the size related. Like, can it, like you'd only have the patterns for vehicles, wouldn't you? You wouldn't have patterns for, if you take a pattern for base building, you could technically do it, but wouldn't it be really inefficient? Tool, right job.
And the other question is, are we going to need patterns for components, for power plants and shield modules? And
actually, real quick, I would be more inclined to think the Crucible would lean into ship building than base building.
I would expect that. Yeah, I could see that. And I could also see the Kraken having that, because we know the Kraken's actually got repair facilities in those two internal hangars. So I expect that to have some form of manufacturing plant similar to the Ironclad for repairing ships.
Yep.
You know, so it's not just little things. This type of thing carries through to every ship that got that element of being able to repair.
Yeah. But see that.
And
sorry, I'm just reading a question. So, Monster said, was it Monster? No. Damon says only the build Galaxy and Pioneer can build large buildings. That's entirely true. But can't they build something that then allows you to build a bigger ship? That then allows you to build the bigger one? So the weird thing is, don't buildings also allow you to scale with ships? So they naturally grow with you, just like buying a new ship and upgrading it. You could also build a new building that will upgrade. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, so the whole game, you can see that it's this natural progression forward. As you build a bigger building, you're able to build bigger ships, therefore then bigger buildings. You get where I'm going with this, right? Yeah. Sorry. Right. Go ahead.
No, I can also see another question that's popping up on YouTube. It's an interesting one.
Go for it.
Is Star Citizen in beta like some people say? And my initial answer is no. We're still in alpha. How do we know it's in alpha? Because most of our stuff, most of the gameplay aspects, like, still aren't there.
I think they wanted it to be, but they didn't quite get there. I think it will probably. I think the safe bet would be when we get Dynamics server meshing.
Yeah.
And the engineering and the other things that they missed at the end of last year.
I you know, even when they get that, until we get the core gameplay loops, I think I would still say we're in beta.
Yeah, but beta is generally considered like feature complete, as in like it's got the fundamentals in, like it's got the foundation in, right? We don't have the full foundation in, so we're not at beta.
Right?
Yeah. Or even alpha is usually that. Beta is the polishing area. So I would say we're at alpha when we get dynamic server meshing and the the ones that are, so like you take base building. Base building is going to be used by every other profession. So once you have the engineering in and the base building.
And I can see where the question's coming from and why people are saying it's beta, because of that, where they've gone, we're going to focus on making the gameplay more enjoyable. We're going to focus on having those story elements. We're going to focus on, and so there is an element where it does feel like it is that in that beta stage. But as Benoit would say, there's problems where things are there because we haven't optimized.
Pissball Pete said 1.0 was basically beta. I think it would be more likely alpha, personally.
I think I would agree with you. Like alpha in the usual way they talk about alpha, as opposed to the building the basics. So once you've got the base, as you said, once the foundations are all in, and you've got the core elements in, then you go into the alpha where you're actually fixing and making sure everything's working in that sense. And then beta is where you're
all the other gameplays are
polishing.
No, all the other gameplays are in. Would be beta.
Yeah, so that's where so alpha's you're adding all of those gameplays. Beta's where you've got them in and you're now polishing, fixing. And
alpha would be the you've got the concrete down for the house and the reinforced concrete, and you've got the pipes all laid and you're ready to build. Beta would when the frame's on and the roof is on and you've got all the walls on, and then the last part of that is putting all the fitting and features in. It's almost like a 3-step process, right? So yeah, we're just at the moment we're architects and we're planning.
Yep. So so we would, I think we'd argue, and I think we're saying the same thing. We'd argue we're definitely not in beta, and we're not really in alpha.
I am choking like crazy for some reason.
Yeah, I know. Be careful.
Oh.
Robert Case has a question, and he says, "To me, the negativity from the community feels intense. With the new changes, it feels the way it was communicated in Star Citizen is in trouble. Will people now be afraid to support the project?" Well, I think goes back to the graph where we've got January, and that seems to indicate no, because January is the biggest it's ever been in the history of the game. It's almost January almost surpassed February for last year.
Yeah.
So that would indicate to me that no, people aren't afraid to support the game. The community is always negative, and part of it comes from passion. Part of it comes from an inability to delay gratification. So
I haven't really been on YouTube in the last 24 hours, but I have no doubt there is already certain content creators with their clickbait titles. I don't know. Tell me in chat, have you seen a clickbait title based on the 3-hour Benoit stream? If it's not there yet, I'm sure they're not far away. Because that's how people make their money. Negative clicks, negative titles make money.
Yeah. And we've found it ourselves. If we do a slightly negative title, the views are up.
Yeah. Like Ag and I will talk. I will deliberately pick a title that is ever so like it's truthful but slightly misleading, because I know we'll get more people watching.
Yep.
And it's just the way the human mind works. And as YouTube content creators, they essentially feed you into this corridor to make them money. That's what they want to do. If you don't play their game, they won't pay you. And there are people that make Star Citizen content, they live off it. They don't have the same luxury as me and Algared.
Yeah, we do it for fun and pleasure, and so for us, it's a hobby.
Yep,
which I think is a bonus.
Stove S knows who we're talking about. Yep.
Yeah. So I yes, the community does always complain. That's what the community does. I always say complaints are not bad, and CIG would say the same. Complaining about the game is not bad, as long as you're not just saying this is shit. This sucks. This is no good.
Critical feedback, not just slurs.
Yeah. Give constructive criticism as
That
well.
too. And that's what we've always tried to do. Like, because and I know a lot of the people here that watch, they do the same thing. Right? You can vent, right? And you get annoyed. Like I said, like I will enrage and I'll walk away from the game. But that's a healthy thing to do. Like, get angry and then go do something else. I don't sit there and smash my keyboard and knock shit around the room, break my monitor and all that shit. By the way, my brother has so many broken console controllers, but that's a story for another time. But you get my point, right?
Yep.
You got to healthily put it out there, and then I come back and I go, right, so this is broken, and it's about understanding why I'm getting mad, and then how do I go about turning that into feedback? And like you said, a lot of the time they already know about it. It's been more healthy for me to understand why the game is broken and how the game's being made, because then I don't get as angry. Because I know that they will get to fixing it eventually.
Yeah, and that's one of the nice things I've really enjoyed about following the project is seeing is you do, whether you wanted to or not, you do pick up the nature of game development, and you pick up that every game is a nightmare to build. And I think that's one of the things Star Citizen has done for most games. It's shown the difficulties of game development and building a game, especially a game that's ambitious. And
excuse me, I'd lost it stuck in my teeth. I don't have a toothpick, so I used a chopstick.
Yeah, as you do. But yeah, so you do have that element where you do want that feedback and that and you know, community frustrations and everything else. So, but yeah, I don't think it's going to make people afraid to support the project.
Yeah,
I certainly still want to support it.
I think there is a place for every type of content creator in this game. I think they take all types of feedback. I think they would look at different people in different ways too. They'll go, right, this person's a reactionary content. He's just trying to make money, and maybe they don't pay as much attention, you know. And then people like you and me, I don't know if they pay more attention to you and me. I've got no bloody clue. But they would. They're not idiots. They would document everything and look at everything in a team, like they take the entire approach to everything they do. They work as a team.
Yeah,
it's just that simple. So yeah.
As Darth Digit says, that's just a bigger toothpick.
Kind of.
When you think of it, it's a giant's toothpick, you know.
Oh, I just don't have. I usually have toothpicks here for that, but I've run out. So I was like, oh shit. Oh.
Yeah. I
was like, oh, I could do it with a fork, and then oh no, there's a chopstick. It annoys me because it sits in my teeth. Otherwise,
gets yeah. I know the feeling.
Yeah. Right. Pisspool Pete says, we know we're getting 4.02, possibly even a 4.03. Do you think that we'll be able to hold on to the 4.1 designation until there's content like crafting, base building to warrant it? That's one of those questions about how long is a piece of string. That's asking us to guess on something we don't fully understand. And I don't think people at CIG would fully know that either. It is, at the end of the day, though, just a number.
I always see the big numbers as we have reached a landmark point.
Yeah. The other thing that I kind of heard, though, was it monthly, or there was definitely like more quarterly and monthly patches. So they want to get 4.02 out by the end of the month. That was what I heard in the parts that I heard. Again, I do want to go back so I can got clarity of the whole thing. I'll watch it again. Maybe you and I can watch it together, and we'll just do a summary and then record a video afterwards as a supplemental. Because it would, I'm sure, I have no doubt Noobify's done that. Like, he's gone, what did he goes, Sus is live in 2 minutes and 10 seconds, right? We can just do that. We'll do a live stream in 5 seconds.
In 6 hours.
Yeah.
No, for us it'd be like 6 hours.
For an hour.
Live.
Yeah, live stream in 6 hours. Yeah.
You can watch Star Citizen live in 3, or you can watch Inforunners take on it in 6.
Yeah, basically. Well, what did we do with the when we did the Citizen Good trailer one of the years? Like, we doubled the length of it. Just talking about it. Anyway. But,
so yeah, if I don't think we ever do we're not very good at doing the absolute 2-second summary of
I think
of a whole show.
I think we like I like a lot of things succinctly, but I also have come to appreciate the fact that you do things in a lot more detail than I do. And we've learned to take that approach that it gives two different. It's why you and I work so well, because we are completely opposed perspectives a lot of the time. It's the odd couple thing that we keep talking about. So yeah, and we've both got to tolerate the shit out of each other a lot.
Yep.
But we've learned that the grief is worth it, so to speak. I don't know how else to put that. Not grief, but the being tolerant of each other is worth it. Yeah. So.
Well, I think it's one of the things that comes with being friends. You know, over the years. You know, like when we started.
We're friends since when?
Mate, after a week in Manchester.
Oh no, yeah, it was the same. Like I don't think if it went on much longer, I wouldn't have. You would have been found dead. Or I would have been found dead.
Yeah,
but
one of us would have been found dead.
I think the thing that really led to that though was that we were both sick too. We were really irritable. If it hadn't been the sickness, I think it would have been fine. But
and yet, and even at that point, we weren't at each other's throats.
Well, again,
throttling each other and that stuff.
Yeah. But in real life, like, we wouldn't be best buds every day. Like, that's the other thing. Like, we talk to each other a couple of times a week and stuff like that. And it works for you and me, and that's the important thing.
And I think had it, like, we've been at this for almost 8 years or so now. I'm guessing.
I think it would become up to 8 years. Shit, yeah, it would be.
So those 8 years have brought us just from being acquaintances to mates. We do talk a lot.
Well, the first time you and I met was at PAX, and I remember you sitting at that table. We met before we actually kind of then met later. So yeah, I just remember you sitting at the table like that. You're very you had the defensive pose, you know what I mean? The self-soothing pose. I remember having a defensive
pose. It was more...
Yeah, you're doing that.
For me, that's more relaxing.
yeah,
but I just feel relaxed when I'm sitting like that. It's it's not being defensive at all. It's just...
like, a lot of people see it come off as that way.
Otherwise, I talk with my hands and talk my hands off. And...
I do exactly the same, so...
Right, yeah.
Monster Avery. With the change to a focus on stability... Do you think that they will stick to releasing ships only in existing niches and functions, or do you think they might see new capabilities? That is a damn tough question to answer. That's a really good one, actually, because it makes me think there quite a bit. Yeah, I don't know, mate. That's a really good question. I think we're going to have to roll with the punches, and I think they would. I think back to the raft. They would have had things in plan for at least the next 18 months, yeah? And now they've moved the goalposts. And so at least for the next 18 months, we'll get ships that come out that might not have their gameplay.
But when they released the raft, part of the thinking there was it's a cargo ship. It can still do cargo. It just doesn't have the bullet for it. A bit like when we're talking... asking them why the Polaris, why all the Perseus, and well, it's a combat ship. So combat's there, it works, as opposed to say other ships where the gameplay wasn't there. So I think they still make those decisions as to if we release a ship, is there a gameplay for it? And I tend to think that doesn't change whether you're working on stability. Stability is how the game runs. In the background, whereas the ships with the niches is what does the player enjoy.
Well, they also mentioned base building as well, so base building ships will still be coming. We know that they had medical stuff in the background, they had scanning stuff in the background, they had engineering stuff in the background, so we don't know what levels they're at, but at the very worst, wouldn't you say that just extends their lifeline, not their timeline, not their lifeline?
Yep.
Big different words there, but you get my meaning.
I think going for the stability probably means we add time to putting in the gameplay loops rather than
and polishing them.
And I think that ties in with the ship, so we may see less new ships. But it's an interesting question. But
do they fall back to just doing the fighter meta again?
Yeah.
Or bigger fighter ships too. Real quick, limited respawn said in chat, Algared and Exe, the cage match confirmed. I don't think you and I would do a cage match. It would be more like sumo suits. I think that
probably.
If we do a bar citizen again, maybe that's what we do as a charity event. We'll raise some money for charity, and we'll do a sumo suit event. That'd be kind of cool. If we, and I'll tell you now,
if we do the bar citizen,
if we go to Citizen Con again, remember my original plan was to organize like a content creator thing. I am so doing that next time. I am like, if I'm going again, I am organizing a big content creator event, and I'm going to do that. And I think the other part of it is I'll probably do a +1 so they can bring people, but also we might reach out to people that we know in our community, and not I don't want to sell tickets or anything like that, but there's probably a cost for the content creators to come, so that the content creators will pay for their ticket, just to pay for the venue and stuff. But I would like normal people to be there as well. And when I say normal people, you know what I mean. I'm not trying to say, oh, you fucking normies, but you know what I mean. So
you're talking the ordinary everyday gamer.
Yeah, but I don't want it to be. It's kind of like how the ship tours were. Remember when we went to the ship tours? They had normal people, they had guests, they had content creators. There was a real mix of people. That's what how I would do it. And you know, like just people that I don't want to say deserve it, right? But like you know, when you get to a certain size, event just becomes bloated.
Yep.
Yeah, so I'd rather that special more intimate, like what Sandy was saying with the gala thing, like that. That's what I'd like to do. But in a more casual sense, I don't want it to be all suit and tie paraphernalia. You know, more like and definitely not really loud music. Just somewhere where you can talk and mingle and socialize. Almost like you know how you have those things where you sit down at a table and have a meal. Yep. Then also you got time to no, but like how you can walk around and mingle as well. Almost like
the buffet type places.
No, I don't not even sit down for a meal. More like just like finger food and drinks. You know, so you can walk around and mingle, but if you get tired, you can sit down on a chair, like chairs up against the wall type of thing.
Yep.
Yep. Your demons are back, by the way. I can hear them.
Yep.
We're gonna need a chainsaw meme for you, Algared. We're gonna have to get a photo of you with a chainsaw, just for the saw memes. Anyway.
Yep. Yeah. Just for the hounds of Baskerville.
And not even about whales. So limited respawns is saying whale watching. No, not even about whales. Like it's not about people that spend heaps of money or done that. Just people that sometimes it's good to have outreach. I don't even know how to say that, and I don't even know how I'd pick people, because obviously you're gonna have a pool of like all these people. And it is going to be like a little bit of a lottery, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Because you want to...
I suppose I could just think of... There are times we've done Eventbrite things for sitcoms in the past. Well, not sitcoms, for bar citizens in the past. We've had a fee. This one in Sydney has a fee. But we've also done them where there's no fee, where there's no ticket. But it's still a ticketed event in that there's only so many places we've got. And so you make it a ticketed event, and people who get a ticket come. And if it's in a location, then it has to be people from that location who are more likely going to be there, rather than people from. But yeah, there's a whole host of things that come to those.
My memory's so hazy. What happened on Friday before CitizenCon? SG is saying so execute basically what happened on Friday before CitizenCon, and I can't remember what the fuck happened on Friday before CitizenCon.
There was a big bar set, that massive big street.
No, that was that was way too big. And that was not intimate. That was heaps of loud. Like that's not how I want to do it.
That was nasty. But the very first one, that Tuesday one.
Yeah, a bit more like that. But bigger, right?
Yeah.
So you could walk around and get to see everyone. If you know such and such, you can sit down and talk to them for 5 minutes, and then get up and move on and talk to another person. That type of thing. Yeah. So it's almost like a meet and greet, light socialization. Nothing too heavy, like we're not all getting there plastered. You know, really nice environment where it's not blisteringly hot or cold, or just comfortable, casual, friendly, and a bit of a meet and greet for everyone.
And I've got to admit, of all of the bar citizens before, both 3 bar citizens before the event, that first one was by far the
best,
most intimate.
Yeah,
and it was just because it was small.
I would go. I'm gonna be honest. I would go if I went to CitizenCon again, and I was unable to get a ticket. I would just go to the Bar Citizens. I had more fun at the Bar Citizens than I did at CitizenCon, and I essentially learned what not to do at CitizenCon. Like I went and watched the panels. If I did that again, I wouldn't have watched the panels. I would take it in turns to watch the panels, take as many Inforunners as we possibly can, and kind of the person that goes and watches that panel that's their panel to watch, they're the one that talks about that with the rest of us. But most of us should be out the back talking to developers and socializing and meeting people. Because
at the end of the day, the best way to watch the panels and get the information
is at home.
Is at home on the video. Yeah. It sounds weird. There is an excitement and level of being there, but
there was things we missed because we couldn't hear from cheers and shit like that, right? But yeah.
So, yeah, the certainly an element of when you're there. There's things you miss, and the value of being there is the people you meet and the opportunities to mix with the developers, but mix with other backers and share the experience.
All the people I invited were like, if you've ever seen Fight Club, the movie Fight Club, the line in it where he says single serving friends, right? Yep. Where a lot of the interactions were just like 5 seconds and that was it, and then I never saw them again. Like Board Gamer, I literally got to shake his hand and then he was gone, right? But I got to meet him, but that's how short it was, right? And then there were other people like shit, he's gonna kill me. Sim Citizen. I ran into him in the bathroom and then I didn't see him again.
Yep.
But I saw him for like 30 seconds.
And then there were other people like Billionaire Ninja we ran into 3, 4, 5 times.
Yeah. Aaron Roberts, we ran into him in the most random of places like 6 times. Like we're like, what are you doing here?
We've just been here.
And Brian Chambers, like we ran into them multiple times by accident, like, and not at CIG, just like in Manchester.
Yeah, and so we'd end up, we probably had an hour or so of talking to Brian Chambers and Aaron just because we just bumped into them.
Yeah, Griffin as well. Like I had
numerous times.
I had a lot of chats with Griffin. But I wanted to spend more time with Griff, but you just don't have that time. And so, what I want was like the Bar Citizens just don't cut it because there's too many people, and I don't know how. I don't know how to say like you're cut off, right? You can't just kind of go. When an event gets too big, you just there was so many people and there were so many people drinking and it was so loud, and they got nightclubs. Like as you said, as it got more, you can look at like we looked at that first night. Yep. Every night after that, there was more and more people to the point that it was insane. Where they did an entire street blocked out, and there's too many people. Like we just went to, because how tired we knew what the night was going to be. Like we just went to one of them, went upstairs, found a spot, and didn't move.
Yep. And until we decided, I'm going. I'm dead.
Yeah, because it was just what were me and Al going to do? We're going to walk around and try and find everyone through these like 8 to 10 different bars? Like no, stuff that. We're just going to sit down, let people come to us.
Yeah.
And apparently our pub that we were in got so popular they didn't let any more people in. We didn't know that until we left.
Yeah. Yeah, because no.
We ordered food and it took like 3 hours to turn up, wasn't it? Like we just got some chips and it took forever.
Felt like forever.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was. I think it was you, me, and
John,
Expat, and
a
few others.
Ollie was with us as well.
Yeah.
There was a whole bunch of people, but like SG was there as well.
But it was a really just sitting down and just chilling. They were the times, but unfortunately that pub was also, it got to a point at the end of the night my throat was killing me because you had to basically yell to be heard. And that's not what we want. And we just want to talk. So again, they put it in nightclubs, and I think that was the wrong way to go. I think they would have been far better just to hire a hall, and that's what I want to mingle. I don't want to. Yeah. The reason why nightclubs, like if you know anything about socialization or psychology,
The reason that why they play music really, really loud in nightclubs is because you can't socialize, so you get awkward, so you buy more drinks. That's the whole reason they do that. But let's be honest, the whole reason you go to nightclubs is to meet and mingle. So it's actually juxtaposed to what you're actually trying to do. So when you actually go to a place like that and you're trying to socialize, it just doesn't work. So fundamentally, the only way to do it is to set up the whole thing yourself. And so that's what I'm trying to say. I want to set up a thing for ourselves. We've spent way too much time on this.
We have.
Another one from Piss. Go ahead.
I'm not sure when the last question on the bot came through, but I'm just going to see, is the bot still running?
Yes, it is.
Good. I'm just double checking.
Yep, she don't have any problems. All right, so Pissball Pete said SEL yesterday was, in my opinion, one of the best broadcasts CRG has done for a long while. It was like Bug Smashers 2.0 with much more information than usual. Did you like this style? Oh, man, I'm just going to have to bite my tongue and not say some certain things. Yes, I really like listening to Benoit.
Yeah.
I should say, you know what I'm trying to say, but that's all I'm going to say.
Exactly what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
I thought at times the questions weren't too bad, and they picked up certainly what I've seen, and I didn't mind generally what was said. But Benoit, how can I not like Benoit? He likes Kruger. He likes Kruger Intergalactic. He's my hero because he loves Kruger Intergalactic, and he wants Kruger Intergalactic ships.
Do you know what I would have liked actually? Is Pillow Talk. If they had Benoit, Chris,
Aaron,
maybe Aaron, and Tyra, and like the people that are
the leaders of those big...
Elliot, John, like the heads of the Star Citizen, not Squadron. So you could technically drop Aaron out because he's doing Squadron.
Yeah,
but you get my point, right? Like just
key leaders,
and like from what we do, I don't think you want to have more than 3 of them.
No.
But one of the things that Algared and I have learned is 3 seems to be a sweet spot when it comes to this type of stuff. Where 2, really easy. 3, you kind of get a bit of a juxtaposition. But as soon as you go to 4, everyone wants to have their say, and it just takes too goddamn long. It's one of the reasons you'll notice that Captain's Table dropped down to 3 because Paul picked up on it as well, doing stuff with us. So 3 is just this really cool sweet spot, and that's what I would do.
It just works.
Yeah. So I probably would have grabbed any of those people that we mentioned, just grab 3 of them, and then 3 months later another 3, 3 different people, or one of them and 2 more.
Pillow Talk 2, Pillow Talk 3.
And that again, even if it was just an hour long, and you don't need Jared, you just have them talking like they're just riffing. They're talking about what they want to talk about, and you could probably, like how me and Algared do, is have a bunch of questions from us or you guys, or you know what I'm saying, and they're there to kind of kick off the conversation.
Well, CIG need to get our bot.
We'll get in touch with Pickles and give you the bot. Yeah, but again, you could do it live too. Why couldn't you? Like that's the best form of interaction, and that's why it was kind of cool, because it was live. And they were looking how chat was reacting. It's one of the reasons what you and I get out of this is seeing live. Like I say, I like bananas, and then someone in chat goes, I like bananas. Like it. I know it's a weird thing to say, but you get what I'm saying.
And then because it is live and we are kind of watching the chat, we can actually, and because we've got our bot with our questions, we're not having to worry about, I've got to answer that question before it disappears. We can kind of engage with the chat and a discussion on chat at times, and then come back to the questions. And I know that was one of the things that when you were in the Philippines on your holiday, that Paul and I noticed that that the bot wasn't working for us, and it was hard.
Well, Paul, because Paul helped us out with Citizen, I went out and asked Ollie to actually get him for that, so he's got the bot now as well. So, actually, I should check on him with him and see how is it doing? Like, is it fundamentally changed how he does things, or is it annoyance?
When I was on Captain's Table, it didn't feel like it had fundamentally changed, but I knew it had.
Well, it just allows him to slow the roll a little bit.
It slows the roll because you've got your question log, and Paul was doing the question read. But it just makes it
more casual.
You want your questions because
it's
you don't have to race through.
One less plate to juggle.
Yeah,
so to speak. Yeah.
Yep. So. The Jocko has a question.
But long story short, yes, I thought it was a very cool stream. I think the summary of what I'm trying to say is, as content creators, we could improve it even more. And I think if you talk to other content creators, they would show you things that they could put into it that just elevates their content to another level, without any work either.
Yeah.
So,
and that's just what you're saying is just the collaboration of different people giving feedback and helping them polish it and make it better. Dojoko had a question. What are the top 5 things you would like to see them address with this new focus on play ability and stability?
I think with their plan, finishing the foundation is really important. I think that is why they've moved into stability talks, because they know that they're getting to the end of that foundational stuff. Get the base building in, get the engineering in. I can see the plan laid out now, and I think where they are going is really important. It is time to stabilize it, because then it's almost like you're finishing that foundation, and now you're going to build a module out that's almost like medical gameplay, but it needed base building so you can make the medical buildings. It needed ships for medical ships. It needed vehicles. You understand what I'm saying, right? Yeah. And so now you can build those individual gameplays out almost like they're, individual arms outside of limbs of the body.
Because you've got that solid foundation.
Yeah, exactly. And I think now I see the plan, and I think the taking the community with you on that plan is really important. And I hope other people see that too. I don't know. Did you see that in the stream? Or you and I talking about it a lot more, so I know you did. But should we put that out to chat? Actually, do you want to do this as a poll? Do you now see the plan? Yeah, let's do that. Right?
Do you have a better vision of the plan?
Yeah.
Or do you think it was just fluff?
Do you now see the plan for how they? No, that's not going to work. I don't know how to put it in a contextual question without making it really, really long. I'm just going to say, do you now see the plan for SC more clearly? Thank you. That works. Yeah, more clearly. I don't even think I can put it that long on Twitch because it doesn't allow you to do that. So copy that, paste that. So there's that one done. And then poll that one, and then enter, and then I'm talking to myself. Yes, I am, Casey. Thank you for answering.
Yep.
Yes.
No, it's a sign of intelligence because it's your subconscious working through the issues.
Yep. Or the first sign of going crazy, as my mum likes to say. Right. So yes, it's already at 64% on YouTube. It's dropping. Oh shit. No, that's gone up again. Yeah, thanks for confusing me, you bastards. But
yeah, it's going up and down on YouTube.
Yep. We've got 1 vote on Twitch. They're at 100%. They're fully invested. So yeah. Yeah, let me answer the question. Elevators. Absolutely.
Yep.
They did talk about elevators. They talked about hangars and all that, and they explained the problems with that. They are going to redo a lot of that stuff. So they know.
Yep. And those things, as a couple of times, they're the sandworms. They're the big scary topics. They're the ones that have got a lot of old code. In some cases, the developers who worked on that code and even created the whole system, none of them are left. So you've got to go back and read.
They made a lot of jokes about ladders and stairs, don't they?
Yep. Oh, ladders are a pain in the...
No, it's in replacing the elevators with ladders and stairs.
Yeah. But in the moment, the frustration, you walk past the ladder.
So what it was a lot of the things don't have self-healing mechanisms. So the ladders, the elevators, when they bug out, they've got no way to reset themselves.
Yep.
And so that's what it's doing. And again, like I was telling you when we were talking about the duplication of waste and entities and all that stuff, exactly the same thing.
And it's the same. It was the same type of thing. Yeah. They even in the early part, Benoit talked about that element as well, where you had a problem where even with the physics group, the system would identify, yes, this is a problem. I see where this clash is happening. It needs to be fixed, but there was no method for it to fix it or change it. And those types of things they put in. And as they do that, that actually gives a lot more stability as well, because it's clearing up a lot of those problems. So
We've got about a minute left on the vote, but it's looking 60-40 type of thing on YouTube and 70-30 on Twitch. So I think my takeaway from that is they could probably up their game a little bit on taking people with a plan, like explain the plan a little bit more, or maybe it's time to just do like an update on the plan. So if you want that as a bit of feedback, if anyone at CIG is watching, maybe talk about the plan and explain why, just briefly in an ISC or something like that, and explain why the foundation's important, so then you can go out into the other gameplays. And I think that's why the stability thing's happening. I think you would agree with me on that, yeah?
Yeah, I think so.
And the other things
we've seen
Squadron.
It from Squadron and other things as we've read the monthly reports. You could see that they were going beyond that foundational stuff to looking at other things. So yeah.
Right, the polls are ending, and they really didn't change at all from what I said before. So yeah, I think it is just maybe time for an update. It is mostly on the positive side, 60-70 type of thing, depending on which platform we're on. But I think we could up those 75% or up is what I'd be happy with, right?
It'd be nice to see to be able to pull more of a community along with us.
Yeah.
Especially when you consider, like,
well, if you're on a train and they're building it while the train's moving, you'd want to know why we're moving, wouldn't you?
Yeah. But I think, like, when you consider that our audience is generally the older, more dedicated people who know, if 40% are saying they still don't really get the gist of the plan, then you're looking at, what's the wider community?
Yeah, or it's even worse, wouldn't it? Because these are informed people. So that makes it more. That's what I'm saying. Got to get those numbers up. Lemming just joined us. How you doing, Lemming?
Yeah.
Don't tell me you're going to join, Lemming, and not talk.
Yeah, that's evil.
I'm going to go. Hello? Yeah, how you doing, bud? Okay, What's up?
Hey. Hi, everyone.
You got a lot of background noise today, man. Are you got a fan on or something? Yeah, you've got this like you're talking through a fan or something. It's really weird. It's like a loud noise, like it's staticky noise. Are you on the USB mic or on the XLR mic?
USB.
Unplug the USB and plug it back in. It does build up static over time.
Okay.
Just from the back of the mic and plug it back in. That may fix it because it used to happen with mine. If you haven't done it in a while, I do it like once every 6 months.
Yeah, mine used to do that too. So
yeah,
it's one of those little tricks we learned early on
along the way. Right. Try talking again, let me.
Yep.
Oh. He's going to keep us all in suspense, isn't he? All right.
Yep. While he's fixing that, we'll just move on to the next question.
Hello?
Oh,
is this any better?
Nope. You have to put a noise gate on, man, or a noise suppression in OBS if you can. But anyway, that's for another time.
Yep. So, Pistol has a question.
I'll help you with it later, Lemming. Yep, go ahead.
And the question is, there's a poll on Spectrum for a community to upvote their most irritating common gameplay bugs. Which legacy bug do you encounter or hate the most?
I think Lemming answered that. Legacy bug.
Yep. Yeah, legacy
bug. The one since the very beginning with the spooling your ship error. You know how you got to like turn the engine off, you've got to move away from the screen, turn the engine back on, wait till it spools all the way up, then go over and then let that one spool up, and then it will work. That fucking bug. It's been there for fucking just the beginning. It must be over 10 years at this point, or close to. What about you, Algared? Is there another really, really old one?
Anything that mucks up the ASOP terminals. I hate that.
Oh, that's a first.
Anyway.
That's a first world problem. That's a first world problem.
But when the ASOP terminals are broken,
Algared times out trying to get to the bottom of the list. So he has a different problem than everyone else. Like you and I don't have a timeout problem. He can't get to the bottom of his ship list before they run out.
Well, there are other people who have more ships than me, so
there are other people with that problem. But let's be honest, Algared, would that be 10% of the population or 5% of the population? Like,
but there are other issues in terms of the ASOP terminals as well. So,
please elaborate.
Well, just sometimes when you summon a ship and it says the terminal broke. I'm
going to be honest. I haven't had that a lot in the last probably 2 years, but earlier on, yes, I'd agree with you.
But I still get it occasionally.
Okay.
But yeah, so those types of bugs, that one of the bugs I've always found frustrating are elevators, ladders. I hate ladders. I hate being magnetically drawn to a ladder. So yeah, they're some of my most frustrating bugs.
Right, Lemming. What's up, man? Nope, he's not there. He's died again. You there,
Yep.
Lemming? His light's coming on, but I can't hear his voice.
Yep, ditto.
Have you muted yourself, Lemming?
If he'd muted himself,
No, he's not muted. He's not muted. I think he's unplugged his mic somehow. I probably tell him to unplug. It's probably
or his noise gate's so high that it's.
Yep. Just let us know when you're back, Lemming. It's fine.
Yep.
Right, next question, Algared. When you're ready.
Medical Walker. Greetings from Puerto Rico. Do you think it would be wise to get an Idris in the next sale to at least have it in my buyback?
Yep, you can do that if you want. Any ship you buy, no matter the size, can you use it? Will you want to use it? Do I have like when you get bigger vehicles, it becomes, do I have the friends to back me on this, or do I want to get the friends to play with me on that? What is your financial situation? Like, we can't answer those. Like, it's self-reflection. Yep. A lot of the Fix My Fleets Algared would say we just take what they say to us and reflect it back at them, don't we?
Yeah. And usually where we go the bigger ships with them, it's because they've said, I want the bigger ships, but I can never get this ship. And I want this ship, but I can never get it. And then you look at their hangar and they've got 50 million fighters, and you say, well, if you melted those, you could actually afford X.
Yep.
And unfortunately, sometimes when we say that, 2 seconds later it says, right, I've deleted them all. I've melted them all. But yeah. Crivicus or Crivicis. Yeah, if I do the S sound for the C, it changes it. But Crivicus, a Rasta or Liberator with 2 Prospectors and an Eclipse.
There's 2, 5. I think
so Liberator to carry them all.
There's different situations there because you kind of look at it from one's probably got better protection and it's got more versatility, as in the Liberator, because you've got multiple ships and fallbacks, opposed to one ship, which is if something does go wrong, you're kind of more screwed, but you're also probably going to make more money with your Astra. So, where in the space are you mining? What are you doing? Who are you with? What are their skills? Because if you've got an Eclipse pilot and he can't mine for shit, you know what I mean, right? And again, and then I also look at the Eclipse and go, is that again the best ship for that job? Because I'd also argue it might not even fit on the back of the Liberator. I haven't looked, but actually I have to look.
Yep.
I know the Eclipse is very wide. Yeah, that's different situation. You need to give me the situation too, because if you were in Pyro, I'd probably go, oh, yeah, you need some escort protection. But if you're in Terra,
you probably don't.
Yeah, so that's a bit like the how long is a piece of string question again.
Well, the other thing is, how many people do you have? Do you have the 2 Prospectors flying with you? And the Eclipse flying with you, or do you need to be carrying them to the location you are because you don't have enough crew to actually man them? So even those types of questions come into it as well.
Technically, you've got 3 ships, but you've only got 2 small. You've got 2 small and a snub. So the Liberator, you can't even take them all on the Liberator. And no Prospectors are going to no 2 Prospectors are going to even get close to what an Arastra can spit out. Yeah, I think like we've done this before, but like I got Hangar Link open here, so let's go back and do it again, because it really, like, and I'm not even looking at stats here. I'm just talking size, right? And you get into the stats and it becomes even more clear. But if I Prospector, right? We've got a Mole, and we've got an Arastra. Right.
And just for completeness, an Orion.
I was going to do that, but you ruined my surprise. You're fucking perfect at doing that. But you knew I was going to do it. You didn't even have to ask. You're a prick. You know I was going to do that. But anyway, look, you try and tell me how the hell can the Prospector even remotely compare to that thing? And I'll even put, like, again, how? It barely even equals the mole. And then doing, like Algared and I were alluding to, good fucking luck. Like, no way. No way, bro.
It's like comparing the Vulture to the Reclaimer. The amount of cargo salvage you can have on a Vulture is like 16 or 18 times when you put it on a Reclaimer.
I would argue a single look at a single saddlebag on that thing is bigger than the entire Prospector, and that's a saddlebag. I would argue that a single saddlebag might even hold more than a mole. I don't know. I haven't looked at the stats, but looking at visually, right?
Yeah, I would look at the same. The saddlebag looks the same size as a Prospector,
and then knowing
minimum, it's going to hold.
And then knowing you put the Arastra as roughly 6 times smaller than the Orion, and there's only a $75 difference right now. This is why we keep telling people to buy the bigger stuff, because it's better value, and you can always earn money, and you can always earn down. Yeah, the same thing again. How much more is the Orion going to hold? Now, I can answer this, right? I'm trying to do it in a vague way, so you go out and find out for yourself. Because I don't want to just say it and you don't absorb it. But if I just say now, go find out. You will go find out and you will learn. So you go into the wiki, you pull up Arastra SCU, and you pull up the Orion SCU, and you'll dumbfound yourself.
And then you look at the crew count on both, and the price difference.
It's 5 to 8, and I think 6 is the max on the Arastra. Like, we're talking 2 more people, and it's 6 times the size. Like, come on, this is not rocket science, gentlemen.
Yeah. And I could see, look, the Orion max crew going up. Clearly see that.
Yeah.
But when you're looking at the size of the ship and the amount of cargo and all that it can hold compared to the closest to it, the Arastra.
What was the other 2 ships, real quick? It was the Liberator and the and Eclipse, wasn't it?
Yep. So the Liberator and Eclipse with the.
So sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, so Liberator and Eclipse with the 2 Prospectors or the Arastra.
Yeah, maybe it'll fit. But then again, you can then only fit one. You've got this thing's got to fly separate, or one of those have got to fly separate, right? None of these 3 will fit on that front pad because it's a snub.
Yep.
So again, you're creating a weak link.
Yeah. Well, I would still in that sense I'd be asking, well, can you afford $75 more bucks and get an Orion?
And you know what breaks it for me? The refining. As soon as you take refining into it, the Arastra wins straight across everything, because you're going to have to take an expanse to be able to do that. So the answer is the Arastra. I think that breaks the tie, does it not?
Yeah, because you need the expanse to do the refining with the Liberator and the Prospectors.
Yeah. Now, if you go outside mining, though, because I think what he's trying to hint out here is the price. Yeah. It's like, oh, no, it's not the price, because the Eclipse is worth $300. Yeah, I don't know. Where did that question come from, bro? If you want to follow up and give us the details to fill in the gaps, then we can probably more accurately answer. But it is a mini fix my fleet. That's essentially what he's given us. But from what the limited info we have, if we were having to bet based on limited info, it's the Arastra. I think you would agree with me on that, mate, wouldn't you?
Because it's got refinery. It's less ships. It's a bigger ship. It can do what all those are doing apart from torpedo runs.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
But it's that same argument we always do, the bigger ship, because it's cost. He says not the Eclipse.
You want to read the...
He meant the Expanse. So
Expanse! Okay, right. Okay, so he can't spell. Right, that's fine.
All right.
I don't mind.
Oh, he just got the ships mixed up.
Yeah, that's fine. Look,
It is what we do.
If he's not going to let me take the piss out of him, then what's he doing here, right? Yeah,
he does what we do.
Yeah, that's fine.
It was an e-ship.
He's one of us. That's fine. All right, expanse, right? But it's the same problem. And don't quote me, but I think could be wrong. But the expanse is a medium. I'd have to double check.
Yeah, I'd have to go double
30. It is it's 33.5, and I'm pretty sure the vulture's a medium. So I'm going to pull in the vulture. Vulture is 33. Yep. So it is technically a medium. It will not fit on the Liberator. But that said, because it's a medium, it probably will go faster at the very least. But still, ooh. Can you see what we mean on volume, though? Like, the volume is just not going to compete.
Yeah. And if you're just into the mining and refining, the Arasta is, you could do that with the minimum crew, the absolute minimum crew of probably 2 people. You could do it with a maximum crew of, whereas the Prospector Expanse model, you need, you leave one of your Prospectors same, you put the Arasta on there, you still, you could do that with one, but it's a lot more cumbersome.
I got a way it can break the tie. Get the Arastra and earn down and get all the other ships. Done. Yeah. You can earn down to the Liberator, you can earn down to the bang. That's how I would do it. Yeah. If this is a financial-based purchasing decision, or are you just giving us a scenario? We don't know because you didn't give us all the information. But Arastra and earn down.
Yep. And that's kind of, based on what we can see, that's basically what we do with Fix My Fleets.
Can you read that first-time chatter on the right over there?
First-time chat. I can't read their name, but they say...
It says Vulture. Liquid Skies is his name.
Okay, Liquid Skies says Vulture is faster than the Reclaimer. Only benefit to the Reclaimer right now is storage.
Yeah, I think the Reclaimer's in a shit price right now, unfortunately. I think they got other priorities right now.
But the advantage of the Reclaimer over the Vulture is it's 17 times cargo, and yet when you look at the price...
Won't have to get out to do blast charges, the munching, multiple people doing things, not just one person. Like, none of that's in right now, right? So until you can actually have multiple people doing this shit, it's gonna... There's just so much gameplay missing from Salvage. It's not funny. Like right now... Actually, I'll bring this up. I talked about this on General Desperado's stream. I talked about on a Grim stream or Star Jump, and I think I talked about it with someone else as well yesterday. But long story short, and we brought it up in our review. But where's the muncher, or essentially the spinning blades on the Fortune? And I think, like, me and Algared really struggled with that review, like, more than we've struggled with anything else before. But halfway, like, towards the end of the review, I realized there's no muncher in this thing.
Where's the munching device? Yeah.
So because that's not really in the game yet, but you go down the line, let's go down the line 2 years and we've got more salvage in, does that mean that the Fortune's only a stripper and that's it? It doesn't do any munching? Or is there a hidden feature in that we don't know of? And a lot of people get the difference, like when I say munching, they think, oh, it's got the disintegrators, right? But the original plan for salvage is you break it into pieces, whether that's done by blasting charges or the disintegrator on the Fortune, or the same thing on the original one on the Reclaimer was lasers, right? However, it's broken up, different methods. And then you were to take those chunks and put them in, so in the Reclaimer, it's got to go down the tunnel into that room where it's all chopped up. On the Vulture, there's a door that opens and it's got these spinning drum things. On the Fortune, we haven't seen anything like that yet. So
is saying that it has a muncher, they use a magnetic field.
Now, and he's doing what everyone else thinks, and he's actually talking about breaking it up, not consuming. Right, so there's breaking it up into pieces and then consuming those pieces. And right now, what we have is a placeholder where you can literally walk up to the Hammerhead and just consume the whole ship in one go. But it's not going to work that way in the final version. You know as well as I do what I'm saying is factually correct. So
I will, before it goes too far on, Crivitus said, thanks. By the way, that makes sense.
So my question comes back, like, that we realized kind of like after the fact of doing that review, is there's no munching on it. And that is really what separates it. Now, is there a hidden feature somewhere on that ship? Is there a hidden mulcher, does it just keep disintegrating and make them really, really small? Totally possible. What Pissball Pete's saying there could be factually correct. You could just keep breaking it and breaking it with those distortions. Yep, that could be their fix. But right now, that doesn't go in line with how the other two salvages do it, where they break it apart and then they essentially cut it up. Yep. So it's not in line with the gameplay of the others. And so my question would be, I think, based on its size structure, the Vulture technically now being medium when you look at the size of it, and the Fortune being smaller, I would assume, like you and I, like one of the things that you and I have learned, there's always a negative the smaller you go. It looks like it's tailored more at stripping.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that, based on
what we've seen in the past, where smaller ships do less? You kind of expect that, but when you said it's a stripper, and a couple of people in chat kind of picked up the same thing.
Yeah.
I just picture, dance poles with a...
For fuck's sake. Yep. That's what I'm looking for. Blackjack and hookers. Woo! Right.
So...
But again, like, they are somewhat similar, right? And they did price. They priced them the same. So based on the price, I would say yes, there has to be some kind of hidden munching or mulching feature, whatever you want to call it. But I went over the only thing that I can think of, and is that thing on the forehead, Algared. But again, what's directly below the forehead? The cockpit. So there's no space to put anything there. So unless it mulches in a way that we've just never seen before, which is entirely possible.
Yeah, could be, and they could say it's leveraging Xi'an tech because it's
the
MISC.
The other way you could do it is, because the feature's not out yet, maybe the Vulture goes up in price again.
Yep.
Maybe the Reclaimer goes up in price again.
And we even talked about, because the Vulture is an old ship with old tech.
It's also Drake.
Things are changing. Yeah, it's also Drake.
Yep.
Do they stick to that? Do they redesign it to tie it in with the new tech? The way, when I say tech, I mean the way CIG are building things and making things work.
What is it, a $20 price difference between, say, the Freelancer and the Cuddy Balak? Somewhere in there, isn't it? Roughly, it's at least 10 to 20.
That, yeah.
So again, if these are the same price, that's another... All me and Algared are trying to do is explain why they are the same price. This one's got less features, but this one's got better qualities. You see where I mean? Like, it balances out. So there's something that doesn't add up there, and that's why we were having so much trouble with this review, because it's like they're the same. How are they different? Like, there's something that just didn't add up that was missing, and I think it's the mulching or the munching, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Sorry, I'm swearing a lot today. I'm hot as shit, and I swear like a sailor when I get hot. But that's the only thing we can come back to, is size, quality, and features, as in yeah.
Point saying in chat, they designed 2 salvage ships that had physical munching, and yet they do everything by beams now. And
could 100% be accurate. I'm not dismissing that at all. All I'm saying is, and I think you would agree with this statement, that's not 100% certain. So what I'm saying is, until I see something to the contrary, I want to know what the real differences are to this, and I don't think we know. I think we will learn in time, and that's what we said. This is going to be a long-term review, because we just couldn't quite figure it out. Normally it's like so blatantly obvious, it's like a baseball bat over the head, but it was not obvious. But
sometimes those changes come as a result of the tech, the way they want to do it versus what's possible with tech. And the classic example was when we're talking to John and Ben, and they were talking about the Fury being used as turrets on the ship.
Absolutely,
they wanted to do it, but they couldn't. The tech just wouldn't let them do that.
But I think you would agree with me, that probably subtly hints at something else down the line.
Yeah.
I think we may get another ship down the line.
Once they crack the code.
Mirai mothership, or a Mirai Starlancer. You know what I mean? Like it's a Starlancer size ship by Mirai that makes the turrets because as soon as you and I saw the Fury, we went, what do they connect to?
Yeah, I still would love to see a Star Fury variant, but dropping. Because to me that just picks up Babylon 5 type vibes. But
yeah, I reckon they would have a really cool Titan suit Fury pod ship. I think that'd be a mad if you could just have the Titan suits drop off the back. And again, you could make it like a smaller Starfarer, essentially. You know, like I get, you know how like the Paladin is to the Valkyrie, that type of thing. But it's smaller.
Yep.
Share style cues.
Yep.
The Mirai mum. I like that a lot.
Yeah, I was just about to say the same thing.
Yeah,
I
that's
like
good.
that. I like
that.
Dirty Garden. Dirty Garden moment.
Yeah.
Mom.
Yeah. Really good. Yeah, really good. Oh, the Dejokos, $10 super chat.
Dejoko.
While you're talking about the Liberator, what are some of the best use cases for it? Do you think it leans more military or in industry? Do you think the Ironclad could be equally good pocket carrier? I think where I was last hour, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, so just I think it really is the ship for when they don't have quantum drives to transport people to other systems. I think it's the ferry. Essentially,
We've constantly called the Liberator the shipping ship.
Yeah,
because that's what it is.
Yeah, and I think would you also agree on this? Based on what we saw of the Liberator, the Ironclad Assault, there will be another version of some ship or another ship that just does ships.
Yep.
I think eventually.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
And yes, we've got the Kraken that does that, but and the you know the Idris, but we're talking a smaller ship that does that.
Yeah, something like you know, like say you take a part of the Kraken, like it's just 2 medium pads, or like 3 to 4 small ships, right? Something akin to that, where essentially you look at the Liberator, you've got a snub, 2 smalls, and then you've got 2 vehicles. You're essentially taking the snubs and the vehicles and kind of joining them together, and even just 3 smalls, right, would still be valuable. Which is the same as the Idris, just in a smaller, sleeker ship. It could just be like an Argo ship that's a flying platform. Imagine the do you remember that thing we saw in that trailer and we still talked about it and we thought it was like some kind of platform? Do you remember? And it had a Connie on the back of it. Do you remember how we went through the trailer, that Squadron 42? Just got that one shot. Do you remember it?
Yep.
Like we went through it for ages.
Oh, vaguely, yep.
Yeah, but imagine that where it's like you take the Argo Raft or you take the Argo SRV where it's got the cab at the front and it's literally just 3 fucking platforms. Oh, sorry, I'm swearing again. Sorry, 3 platforms at the back.
I would it's not Argo. That ship, if they bring that, it's not Argo. It's Crusader, and it's their Jupiter.
No, you call it the. No, I was going to say call it the Titan because it's the largest moon of Jupiter, but you get what I mean. You can't call it the Jupiter because the Jupiter's the Jupiter and it's way too big. But like,
but the Jupiter,
it's Jupiter was. I call it the Ion. What's another moon of Jupiter? Let's have a look. Moons of Jupiter.
No, but the Jupiter was Crusader's carrier for delivering their shuttlecraft to the market.
Yeah, but they carried like massive, really big ones. Callisto. There you go. Callisto's a really good one. The Europa. The Callisto.
The Jupiter was carrying their shuttles.
Yeah. But again, you could make it as in like it's a smaller Jupiter is what I'm trying to imply. That's why I'm looking for a moon.
Yeah. I when you were describing it, I saw a road transport, you know, for delivering the cars to the market. And to me that's what
and the advantage
was for
the advantage there too, we talked about this too, remember? You could also therefore land 2 ships on it and you could actually transport cargo between the 2. Especially when you have a medium ship, right? So you can fly out a Zeus CL. So imagine a ship that was just 2 medium pads, and that's all it is. You fly out to somewhere in between 2 locations so they can land and refuel, repair, but also so it allows them, like it creates a bridge, but it also means if you've got a CL and say a Freelancer Max, you could land them both, drive and transport the cargo between the 2, and then they go back in the opposite directions they came from. So it just gives more versatility to those ships, and you don't need bigger ships. I could see that being a thing.
Yep.
But again, a medium-sized pad, if we go back to Hangerlink, because this will be a good comparison to what we could be completely off the mark here, but I'm going to double-check. This is what's useful for having this as a tool. Did I click that? I did, didn't I?
Mm-hmm.
It just hasn't. Oh, it has. Right. So it is roughly, I would argue, Algared, if you put those 2 squares next to each other, not that I reckon you could get it smaller than a Liberator.
Because the two big pads on the nearest Liberator are the medium pads.
And like you said, Crusader, Argo, I could even see it like a modified Ironclad. That's just that straight, an Anvil. Like it works with so many different ships.
I could see a revamped Caterpillar, because I can remember seeing, years ago, those suggestions of a Caterpillar module that kind of took on the Cutlass and held the Cutlass in its bay. A suggestion from community. So Surge could go any way they like, but for me,
we don't know what their plans are. Again, like one of the questions we get a lot is, what ship would we make if we could make any ship? And the thing is, like, we don't know what their plans are. And me and Algared kind of sit here. There's very few ships we've ever. I think this is one you and I thought up. I think the other one that we thought up was the Manta. The Corvette that was basically espionage, e-warfare, data running, like the MSR, like we talked about the very first question from today, that in a Corvette-sized ship. So it's all e-warfare, espionage, all that type of thing, and it's like a silent running Corvette that's all about just gathering intel and shit like that.
We even thought of the cargo, the salvage ship that just crunched things into boxes.
And we ended up getting that in the Vulture. We ended up getting that. So, yeah. But again, there's things that we thought about along the way. But again, as time goes on, there's a lot that they've already thought about. But there's also gameplay they haven't talked about. So, I don't know. I think that's the only ones I can think of. Because someone asked us this recently, and I couldn't answer it. When was it, like last week, maybe? A question like that, but yeah.
Yeah, it's always hard to what ship would you build and why, and I'm generally happy for any ship. So,
you comics asking, hey, Excan Algared, are you guys attending the Sydney Bar Citizen today? You buy my ticket for the airplane and the accommodation. It costs like $1,000 for me to come back there for 2 to 3 hours. It costs me like $1,000 because I got to buy the plane ticket, I got to pay for the hotel, and I got to be there the day before and leave the day after. So I can't just fly up there the day. Oh, I guess I could fly up there the day.
You probably could have flown in on the day, but
and then fly out the day after. But the point is, like I can't just stay at Algared's because he doesn't have the space.
Yep.
If he takes that down that curtain, he lives in a shoebox.
It's true. Yeah. True. X has been here. He knows.
Yeah. Oh, I had fun when we played the board games and stuff. It was great. You got enough room to live comfortably, but like you don't have a second bed or anything. Yeah.
Nope. It is a shoebox.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, I just realised when that certain lady comes along, you're going to have to get a hotel. Or a new house. One or the other. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. We have to go house hunting. Oh, I'm going to have a lot of fun. Don't go more red, Algared. If you did, you'd hurt yourself. Right. I'm going to pay for that later. Don't you worry. I will pay for that later. He's stewing. It's fine. Right. We've got a first time chatter then. Algared, do you want to read that one? Or
first time chatter is let's see. It's
Hash Kraken 1971.
1971 says the Liberator is a vehicle ferry, as we've always said. So is the M2 and the Ironclad. The Kraken is the only ship in game that is built as a combat spacecraft carrier, and only one that can rearm, repair, and refuel multiple ships.
I think there's a little spin on each of those, though. Like, they all do have different things. Like, the M2 is obviously the most combat-focused one of that. Much like the Ironclad Assault is a lot more combat-focused, but it's also more vehicle-based. Again, like when the Hercules dropped, what was that massive argument we had?
Yeah.
And the irony of the fact that Paul is now buying an Ironclad Assault is not lost on me.
Yeah.
Right, where they argue with me black and blue. It's a S-tier ship because it can transfer big vehicles, and a couple of them. And I'm like, yeah, give it a couple of years. Liberator drops, Ironclad Assault drops. It changes everything.
But the comments, I think, are, yes, the Liberator is a vehicle ferry. Oh, it's a shipping ship. It's vehicles and ships. The M2 is obviously is the same. It can move vehicles. It can move small ships.
Trash.
What's this? Sorry,
Let me just say trash.
for what?
Yeah.
What's trash?
M2.
Yeah.
I think the M2 is the best of the Hercules series, but
It is.
Lemming has a massive bias against the Hercules series, and everyone's entitled to their opinion. But that's totally fine.
The Kraken is a carrier, but it also lines up against Idris in some way. Both of those ships have ship repair abilities.
Actually, I can give a really good example of this, Algared, that'll allow people to look in the future a little bit. And I'm not trying to shit on a ship, right? I'm just trying to give an example. The Expanse. Yep. It is the only refinery ship we have. It will more than likely, based on what you and I have seen, one of the theories me and Algared had way back when, if you were going to keep selling ships, how would you do it? You'd sell it from worst to best, right? And I won't go into details on why, but just take note of the Expanse and notice how every other refinery ship that will come after is better than it. Well, it's the same thing with the Hercules. Look at all the ships that have come out afterwards. They're better.
With the Expanse, you can even do that base comparison against the Galaxy. The Expanse had the...
True, I forgot that had a refinery module. Yeah,
it had, 2 size 1, and the Galaxy had the bigger one.
It's got 3 smalls, and the Galaxy's got 2 large. Yeah. And the Erastra's got 2 large as well, technically now as well.
And so the Erastra's the first one. It's great. But the next one up. Just
you mean the Expanse?
Yeah.
But we get what you mean.
Sorry.
So,
yeah.
Yeah, I get what you mean. I forgot about those 2. But yeah.
So but the Kraken's not the only ship that can repair. We do know the Liberator, when people asked about its repairability,
I think you're missing a really key thing, though, of the Kraken, right? Yes, you do get all those extra features, but you also got so many more people and costs to do that.
Yep. And the other thing is that we know, yes, it's got repair. We know the Liberator will have some repair because it was asked in the questions, and it's hand repair.
You could do that on a Hercules, though, too. You could have hand repair on a Hercules.
Yep.
Right.
But whether you have that fabrication module to actually repair stuff, we know that the Kraken has internal bays for repairing stuff. We've seen it with the cranes in the artwork, so we're assuming it's got that.
And what's better, a crane or a tractor beam? So you're going to remember, Kraken's, like, Drake is a lower form of tech. This is one of the things we talk about. Like, why is there drones and hand trolleys? It's because different areas and different places are going to have different quality or poverty levels. Like they showed the different interiors of buildings. We saw restaurants and high-end, like, Old Man Hurston level luxury apartments, but then we saw mid-tier and low-tier. That's all going to be a part of it. Drake is clearly the bottom of the barrel, right? So again, just taking the Idris to the Kraken. Now, if the Kraken is so much more higher in price than the Idris, but it's lower in quality, you can see the math. Like, it's the same thing where we were talking about the Prospector. Sorry, not the Prospector. The Fortune and the Vulture before. There are just things in the background that make things hard to calculate where they line up.
Even things like armor on the ships.
Yep. Sorry to interrupt you, but that was important because that's a piece that person there, Pash Kraken, that's a part that you missed because that you need to bring that into your math.
And again, the Kraken is not the only ship that can rearm and repair those ships. It can do more, but it's got other elements.
Yeah,
we know that hand repair and hand rearming is a thing. They confirm that for the Liberator. What that means, how that works out, using your tractor beams and other stuff, we're starting to see a little bit of that, but it's still a bit nebulous. I expect the Idris to be able to do repair. I expect it to be the same as the Kraken in terms of being bigger. We know, but the only ship so far of those larger ones we've got that said it has a manufacturing module is the Ironclad. It's the only one that seems to have that tool that's actually been stated.
I think we can safely assume there'll be some form of manufacturing on a lot of the big ships, but that is not guaranteed. You'd have to assume the Idris has it because of the hangars and stuff. You'd have to assume that the Kraken's got some form of it because they've got repair facilities. And what does repair facilities translate to? Again, when you bring in those different quality levels.
Yep.
Again, everything is vague and they're never fully explained out, right? So you can make some assumptions, but don't ever make sure it's guaranteed. This is why we speculate a lot, because it fills in the gaps, but it's not concrete.
And Waffle Insanity also pops in and says, and the Polaris can rearm and repair.
Exactly. Like, I think someone had that as a question the other week, didn't they? They literally said, why can't it do that? Yeah, we'll do it eventually. Lemming, you sounded like you were about to say something. You were breathing like Darth Vader. Go ahead.
Sorry. I don't know why there's so much noise in this room. The room is dead silent, but whatever.
It's all right. I'll look at it with you later. It's all good.
Okay. So, with the game that Star Citizen is becoming, I don't think any ships are going to auto-reload. They don't want stuff appearing. They don't want stuff disappearing. They want stuff to be...
Sorry, can you clarify auto-reload?
Yeah, so you land on a pad. So like a lot of people are expecting, like the Kraken, for you to land on a pad, go to your Moby class.
Oh no!
Select rearm.
No.
Physical.
That's someone like, and again, different tech levels, right? You might be able to go to your Moby class, and the drones come out and repair you, resupply you. But then you land on the Kraken, and it's low quality. So the guy's got to run out with a hose and plug it in.
The classic,
and they're putting all those ports on all the ships. They're not doing that for fun.
The classic example to show that is on the Polaris.
Well, you could even go to cargo too. Cargo used to auto pop on, and now you got to put it all on. It's a chore.
Well, look at the Polaris and the lift for loading torpedoes from the cargo bay up to the launchers, so you can actually put them in the magazine.
Why would you do that when you can just pick it up with a tractor beam and go straight across?
Yeah, but that they've put that in because they actually want us to physically moving the object.
Yeah, do you need like a little mule to pick it up? Is it safer to... Because that's the other thing that comes in. Like, our tractor beam's going to have an unstability. If you drop a torpedo, will it explode? So you move it with something that's a lot more secure. We haven't even got into that territory yet.
Yeah.
You know, like if the ship's in combat and you've got those jarring things, you know, the physical movement stuff, do they want you to risk moving a torpedo, get hit, drop another torpedo, and it goes off, and all the torpedoes explode?
Yeah. And you've seen that sometimes when you're moving boxes with tractor beams and they hit something, you get the sparks indicating if it's a collision.
Yeah. All right,
things are taking damage. So yeah.
We derailed Lemming's question. Go ahead, Lemming.
We did. Sorry, go, Lemming.
Hey, Expat, nice to see you. Oh, they're rating. Nice to see you, Expat. You're doing well.
I know I read a post on Spectrum with like somebody being like super mad about no auto reloading and stuff like that on the Polaris. And like people that think that's gonna still be a thing on any ship, I don't think it's gonna be there.
And I would agree with you.
Well, what was the question? I missed it because I was replying to Expert. What was it? Sorry, what did you say, Lemmy? My bad.
Oh, I was just saying that a lot of people are expecting the Star Citizen that we had 3 years ago to be the final game. So you land on a pad.
Isn't that obvious from all the people that want the dogfighting meta back and don't understand that it's...
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
That just proves my point. They didn't read the original design documents. We had this dogfighting module as a test bed, and that's just that gameplay, but that's that limited set of ships. How do you have all that gameplay with all these other ships? It's like you're essentially telling them to unsell all the ships above the fighters. Like, no, not going to happen. Crazy.
Yep.
Oh, 4 a.m. Okay, you're doing a me. I've been up since about 4 a.m. So yeah, we'll have to catch up though, Expat. I want to share with you and like there was a really awesome conversation that me, Pissball, Pete, and Expat had one day, and I think it was like 5 to 7 hours. We just sat there talking, and it was so funny at the end because there was just a random person that was in the Discord with us, and he was there at the start of the discussion. Then he went dead quiet for like 5 to 6 hours or however long this conversation was. And then right at the end, he goes, "That was amazing." And we just all started laughing because he hadn't said a word in hours. And he'd been there just like a fly on the wall. It was just the funniest thing.
Yeah. In some ways, it was a bit like Expat in the early days listening to Paul and us talk law.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah, well, you find yourself doing that, but again, we're all just people. Like, I would have much preferred, rather than him being a fly on the wall, he joined in. Like that, yeah. Because you never know, like how many times have we had a random person kick the can, so to speak, and something falls out that we never would have thought of.
Yeah.
So yeah, it changes it, but yeah.
Yep. But sometimes it is also just enjoyable, just sitting there and absorbing, listening to the conversation and the way it's going around, and just.
We'll have to. You know what we should probably do, Pistol Pete and Expat, is we probably should jump on one of your guys' streams one time and just play for a couple hours. I think, and just choose a shit. Probably can't do an Expat because she'll want us to all dress up in suits and characters and stuff, and I'll just be an evil villain. But so we'll probably maybe Pistol Pete, if you're up for it. Me and Expat will come and just hang out one day, and we'll just choose a shit if you're up for it. If you're up for it, let me know. Let me know. There's a lot. Man, how many people did you bring over, Expat? They're all saying shit. Oh, it's good to see you all. Hope you had fun with Expat. I have often wanted to, like, there's sometimes when I'm listening to Expat, I'm like, I just want to come along as an evil villain, and like she you know, she was the queen of Pyro or whatever. I want to be like something else. You should go play Old Man. Oh, you need to make that a thing. She needs to work. You need to go do
Hurston's bodyguard already.
No, but you should go do a show with her. Yeah, she can bodyguard you or whatever, and do an episode where you actually play Old Man Hurston and do the whole, you know, the whole, what do they call that? In character. No, role play. That's it. You do the whole role play. Nah, I reckon that'd be awesome.
Yeah, now execute. Stop trying to make Old Man Al do more work, and you know.
I think you would both get a kick out of it. The one thing a lot of people don't know in the background is Expat and Algared have a lot of things in common. They share a lot of
yeah, we twitch the same way, you know.
No, like they both love history and stuff like that. So they get on like a house on fire when they talk. So I reckon that'd be really good.
First time we were in our chat next, goes, oh no, what have I done?
I was like, it just like went off on World War II tangent. I'm like, oh no, because you get them both started and they just they ended up they were talking for like 3 hours and I'm like, oh, I gotta go. I can't, you know. It was good. Yeah. They had a good talk. So yeah, all right. We are close to wrapping up ourselves. We've got probably like 15 minutes left.
We got about half a dozen.
Yeah, we'll be right. We'll be right with questions. Yeah, the bot has closed itself. It's like it knew.
Yep, it must have known. In answer to the question, Waffle and Sandy said Algared Travel Pics. My travel pics don't really exist because I suck at taking photos. I'm hopeless.
You want me to show you the photos he sent me?
No. Well, the Paris one in the snow, that was pretty cool.
Yep.
But they were very small.
Expat, have they actually said to us when we can actually release the videos from the tours and stuff? Because I haven't heard anything. Because we've actually got footage of the tours and stuff. No, I've got it. You've got it.
Yeah.
But they told us there was what they said, it had a date or something. We had to hold it.
Yep.
What they call that? The thing where we had to hold onto it until they said, but we haven't heard anything to say we can now show the footage. So we're just holding on to it, waiting for them to say something. But maybe I'll reach out to.
But the trip was attached to CitizenCon, so it was 2 weeks in Indonesia, so I could do language training. Then Manchester, then Walsall and Bath and Bovington Tank Museum, which is.
I can't show those ones because there's a certain person in them.
Yeah,
I can show you this one.
That was pretty.
Where's that, Algared? Tell us where that is.
That is the Arc de Triomphe. Initially started to be built by Napoleon, and then over time, eventually finished. Put on hold for a few times because I didn't want to highlight Napoleon's activities.
This one freaked me out a little bit. That's damn cold.
That is Versailles on the 21st, I think, of November. 2 days before I left.
Eiffel Tower with snow.
Eiffel Tower. I like that one because the Eiffel Tower's white.
Yep.
Because of all the snow.
Yep.
So I did.
I'm checking them all before I open them so I don't show any of your privacy.
That is part of
no nudes. I'm just checking them for nudes. Just make sure there's no nudes.
Well, those gold statues are actually nudes, by the way.
Will these videos? No, I'd have to open them. He's got some videos too, but I don't think.
I think there was one of showing the land that's showing the sky in the.
Yeah, there's a lot of Paris, but we've got other ones.
Well, that's they're Versailles, because that was the rainy, the snowy day.
Yeah. And you didn't share with me what the hell was this game going black? Oh, because I minimized. You didn't share with me any of the Manchester ones because I was there. But I haven't gone back through and gone through all my shit. I just haven't had time. We essentially got home, and then I went straight into AIE, and then I've kind of had the problems with my foot and the heat. Like, and Algared and I just don't like to do anything when it's hot. So, I'll have to reach out to CIG and ask when we can show the tour stuff. We got another raid from Devil's Night Gaming. Shit, man, I didn't even see that. We don't pay attention to any of this shit.
No. Hey, Devil's Night Gaming.
Yeah, no, thank you for the raid. I didn't even notice. My bad.
Yeah, apologies for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Bath in England for the Roman baths is huge. The Saxon Cathedral, that was great in Bath. Glastonbury Abbey, that was pretty cool. Bovington Tank Museum.
Go to the Louvre?
No.
You idiot.
Didn't go to the Louvre.
It's like the one place I'd want to go if I went to Paris is the Louvre. Anyway.
I went to Napoleon's tomb and the museum there, and I went to Waterloo and Dunkirk.
So what, they brought him back and buried him in Paris, did they? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah.
That's an insult. Literally said, "Heat, you live in Tasmania." One of the things I learned while I was away is Australians are averse to heat, because I thought it was cold here. Go to the UK. It is way colder in the UK than it is here by a country mile.
Well,
it was so they in August, it was already equal. So August is the last month of winter here, right? And I can't remember the exact time it was there, but they were moving from summer to winter, and it was already the same temperature in our last month of winter as it was in this would have been their autumn technically.
Dirty Garden Gnome, you are being very dirty, and no, that will never happen. The old man Hurston birthday suit with legs crossed.
Right.
Yeah.
I thought he was talking about I want to go to the catacombs and breathe in the death. That's a bit weird. Someone's got a bit of necrophilic tendencies.
Well, no, in the catacombs in Paris, the whole place is decked out with bones and from plague, because they had to move the burial sites from that because it was too close to civilian areas and people were getting sick. No, I didn't get to the catacombs, but that would have been a cool area to go to. Basically, when I was working at the Paris trip, I'd originally planned to do the trip of the combat sites. So, World War II, World War One, Waterloo, all those types of sites, because I just love history. And I was going to do a tour and said, I can do this tour afterwards, and I'll just do it by myself. And I'd use their dates to work out the times, and it was woefully inadequate. So I spent 2 days doing Waterloo. I could have spent a third. Or fourth. I spent half a day in Brussels. We easily could have spent 2 days or a week. So yeah, basically, long story short, I need to go again and spend a week in each location.
I get the feeling that we are going to have to go again in regards to CitizenCon at some point because of 2026. I think 1 year it goes to USA, the next year it goes back to Manchester, so probably in 2026.
I could see it being in Manchester again, and if it works based on what we think and what CIG have said, that'll be the launch of Squadron. So, and I fully expect that to be there. Which kind of ties in with SD Dyson's question. Follow-up, do you think they'll release a non-1.0 but stable? Oh no, we answered that question. That was one of the last questions we answered before we went off on a tangent.
Yep.
Dub Cody had a question to move us back on track. considering they aren't concerned with new features for now, does that mean we won't see the Apollo or MR2 this year?
Not necessarily,
actually-
because they're already in the pipeline, are they not? Well, yeah, go ahead, Lemmy. I'll let you go first.
They didn't say no new features. What they said is the features aren't the focus.
Yes.
So like the Apollo, that doesn't require any new features.
Well, it's already
People
got.
say drones.
It's just got
drones,
beds in
drones,
it. Well, yeah, you can
it
put it
doesn't
in.
need drones.
You can put it in with the
doesn't
beds and
need
leave the.
drones now.
Yeah, you can put it in with the beds and leave the drones out. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've already got modularity, so you could just put different types of beds in.
And I expect when the drones come, the first drones we're getting is just automated. You click a button and it does the job, and I can see that being on the build, and I can see that being on the Apollo.
You know, I just realized, Algared,
Hmm?
how many different versions they're going to make of the Apollo.
Oh,
2 rooms. Well, because what we know about how modularity works right now, you've got to have one that's got 2 tier 1 beds.
Yep.
So that's then the 2, and then 2 3s is 3, and then you've got 3 and 2, 3 and 2. That's another 2.
Yeah.
It's going to be like,
and you got to mirror it. You got to.
It's going to be like 12 copies minimum.
Yep.
Um,
It's almost a ship. I could see John Crew hating just because of the number of number of variants that have to be built for that.
Yeah.
So.
Damn. Yeah, there's quite a few versions.
It's the same. It's the same number of modules as the Tally launched with.
Yeah. I think it's probably more than that, actually. It'd be like 9. I'm trying to do the math on it. I'll have to do it afterwards, but yeah, I think it's about 9 different versions.
Because you'd need, whatever you do on the one side, you'd need to have duplicated on the other side. Once you start swapping that, doing these changes, if this one's got side 2, this one's got a side 2.
It's essentially 3, 2 by 3 is 6, but then you have the 3 individual double versions, which is another 3. That's how I got to 9. I could be wrong, but I'll have to check it up again. Do my math properly afterwards.
So a bit of a nightmare.
Yeah. But yeah, again, that's why they don't do modularity much at the moment.
But it's as Lemming said, it's the same as what we'll see with the Retaliator. It's got 2 modules. They actually brought out 3 different modules. So a combination of those, got the cargo, living, troop, and torpedo, with one of those missing on the, I think the troop module missing on the back one.
Well, see, Dr. Reanimator, when we actually talk, he's got a question. He didn't ask a question, but I'm just reading what he said.
Yep.
He basically said it might not work like that. They explained to us how it worked, and we were like, so they have to actually make a modular system. They don't have a modular system. If they put the Caterpillar into the game right now with all its essential modules, they said that they'd have to make 220 plus versions of it.
Yeah,
and we were like, so then you need to make a system. And that's, so again, knowing what they told us there at CitizenCon, you look at the Apollo, you've got essentially 3 times 2 modules. Do the basic math, it's at least 9 versions. That's crazy. And it only gets worse the more
as you go up.
Look at the Endeavor. Holy shit. Yeah.
That it was that question, like we even raised it in terms of, the Gladiator. Having variant, when are we getting the module for a module or a variant for the Gladiator? And
but the other part of this goes back to what I was saying before about taking the community with you. Why did it take us going there to ask these questions for them to come out? Why didn't they get on and actually answer these questions?
Oh, maybe because sometimes people don't ask them.
I think it's because you can't upvote and downvote, personally. But anyway.
That could be it as well. But
So I have hope for the new monthly show that's coming with the Behind the Ships. They could do some really, 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 really good things with that show, especially in months that, there's nothing that's going to come out. Like, for example, September. No new ships are going to be coming out in September. It's right before SitCon. It's just not going to happen. That's like a dead zone.
I take that comment and raise you pedigram.
I would love to see.
Did that come out?
It came out in September.
Okay.
I would love to see them do record those shows and release them during December and January as well.
I think the other thing is, like, it also requires a data-driven host. It needs someone that can delve into. One of the things I talk about when I talk about Disco Lando as a host is the time that Will Weisbaum hosted because he had to go to jury duty. You need someone that knows the depth of those ships and the game, and that's why, like, when we said if you got 3 people and just let them riff, the actual developers, they'd pull that shit out of each other, right? And so when you talk about a behind the scenes show, if it is actually data driven and not just presented well, it could be really helpful. I'll believe it when I say it, Lemming. Just put it that way. There's something that's to fundamentally change about how they do shows.
And I think we kind of saw that talking to Ben and John. Like,
yeah, straight away.
Once the conversation got going.
Yeah, we were pulling shit out of them left, right, and center that they never ever mentioned.
But the other thing was they were bouncing off each other as well.
And us, and they were asking us stuff too. It wasn't just a one-way thing.
Once the conversation had got past that awkwardness of meeting, it was, you know, Ben had said something and John had remembered something, and then that had triggered something we'd ask. And it was like, but when we're talking modules, you know, I asked, what about the Gladiator? When that's supposed to be so versatile? And Ben said, well, one of the problems there is just the size of the modules and how they work, as well as needing variants and
everything you're describing is why we do these things as a discussion. You don't do them as structured. Like when it's all structured and questions and answers and it's all neat and tidy and done up with a bow and little box, you don't get those things that rattle out like from our discussions. And that's why we do it this way, because you don't get those little gems.
Yep. Indeed. And you know, so
you need to be able to interrupt people to flow and riff, and you can't do it that in a show like they do, because it's got to be so well presented that it's all forward facing and polite and all that. That's great.
Yeah.
But I think they need another show that is like Star Citizen Unleashed or whatever. I don't know what you call it, but you know what I'm trying to say. They just need where it's a discussion and it's live and it's raw, and I think that's why the Benoit thing was so cool, because it was live and it was raw, and it was just answering questions and riffing, and that's what they need.
And letting Benoit,
and not like as I said, maximum of 3 people. Not when they bring on a whole like when they bring on the whole team of whatever. It's just, and again, I don't even think you need Lando there, and that's not to have a crack at Lando in this case. That's just to say he doesn't act like hosts are meant to pull things out of people, right? But I think if you get 3 people and they're from different departments and they just start talking, and again, you use questions from the community to get the conversation started, it'll just come. And you and I have seen it. We've seen it on Fix My Fleets. We've seen it in discussions with Ben and other developers ourselves. We've seen really quiet people. Once you bring them out of the shell, it's just a natural flow of conversation, and that's all they need.
And when you get more than 4, you end up with 1 or 2 people just ending up being very quiet, and you want everyone to be able
happened yesterday. There was a time where Space Tomato didn't talk for 15 minutes, and I had to pull him back and go, you know. So yeah, it happens.
Anyway, back to the question.
Got like 5 left.
Yep. North End Trooper. When they say basically no new, no, that's the one we just did.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
It's not? Okay.
No.
So very similar to the one we just did, though. When they say basically no new features this year, are they still pushing for the features content that was dropped off from 4.0 push? Yes.
Yes, if you watch the whole 3-hour thing, as I've said multiple times, it's just making the team smaller to focus on stability. They're essentially working on both things now, not just new features.
Are Social confused? How many parts of Flight for Pyro do you think there will be?
Too bloody many. I'm already sick of it.
It's 2. Yeah. The event's done.
Yeah, the event's done. There's people on Reddit. There's already people with the skins in game.
Yeah. There you go. Chris has a question. Since we are on building, is the building of a starbase entirely gatekeeper locked behind a pioneer? I do believe it is, because you need the pioneer to build the first thing that enables you to build the starbase. But
yes,
having said that, you're also going to need the blueprints for that thing, which is going to take a long, you know. I think it's probably more likely locked primarily behind rep to get all those blueprints. But then you're going to have a pioneer to build that unit for you.
So when I read that question, I didn't get space station from it. So does Chris mean start space station or
Well, he says Starbase.
Starbase?
So Starbase for me is a space station.
Okay.
I didn't even read the question because I'm looking for someone to read. What was it? Who was it from? Chris.
Chris.
That's where we're building a Starbase is entirely gatekeeping locked behind here. Yeah, they are locked behind the Pioneer. Yep. Absolutely. Locked behind the Pioneer.
If it's talking to the space station, Starbase, then yes, because you need the Starbase, you need the Pioneer to build that.
It's simple.
Part.
A Pioneer is an org level ship. Only an org's going to be able to build a Starbase anyway. Look at the resources that were required for it. It is literally gatekeeping because it needs to be. You're not going to be able to do it anyway. It's like a key. It's like a key to a lock. Like once you open that, you got an entire room afterwards. It's a tiny little thing still that's going to turn into a much bigger thing. And there is no way in hell a build or a galaxy is even going to be able to come remotely close to being able to
that point.
Like you're talking about an outpost to a literal city in the sky. Like that's insane.
But to pick up the question, and I think where you were coming from, Lemming, is Starbase, is he just talking about building the outpost and the settlements around it and being able to do that?
Right, exactly.
That's not locked behind a Pioneer because you can do that with a build. But when you go up to the space station, that is Pioneer locked. And also, I think rep locked because you've got to do earn all the blueprints down the chain. So it's going to take, it's not just a matter of having a Pioneer and building it, you need the blueprint. And that's going to take a long time to get. So, yeah.
I mean, but that's completely ignoring the fact that it's going to have to be defended. It's going to have to be, I mean, it's going to be a high value target. Other people are going to take it. So, yes, it's going to be locked behind lots of things.
Either people are going to destroy it just so they can salvage all the crap, or they're going to raid it to steal all the resources. So, there's a lot more behind just a Starbase than having a Pioneer. And I'm pretty certain that you only need, in fact, based on Ben's comment, he was shocked when he found out that some orgs, every person had a Pioneer. He asked, talking to someone and said, how many Pioneers you got? Oh, everyone's got one. His image was big, one per org type was where he was coming from or thinking. So,
Algared, do you want to
multiple Pioneers seldom?
I know we're not right at the end yet, but do you want to raid someone new or someone we know?
The last few weeks we've been raiding new people. Let's raid someone we know.
Okay, cool. I'm good. Yep, Nick, keep going. We've got a couple of questions.
Karmic has a question. Second last question. Karmic Catastrophe. How much of a slog do you really think this is going to be? Getting to stability, and how granular do you think they'll get before adding new content?
So, this is kind of what I feared yesterday when I was watching this show, is when he said, when he was talking about the slowdown of content, what he said was that they're not going to hold back content on like a quarterly basis. It's going to come when it comes. But at the same time, it's not the focus of now. The focus of now is building out what we have.
I think you need to look at it as in, like, it's instead of it all being what was just features, it's a second plate to spin. So you're doing features and stability.
Yeah.
It's not just stop. It's not like we're originally going down a one lane road. Now we're going down, we've got the same number of cars and, or two trains on two train tracks. Goddamn jokes. So basically they're just dividing their resources. So we're probably going at the half the speed that we used to be in features, but now we're putting some of that in stability.
Yeah. And Chris did clarify his question, by the way, from earlier. He was meaning space station. So
yep, cool.
Okay.
All right. How many we got left, Algared?
2.
Yep.
One, but that's an insult.
Oh, real quick.
Which you've already answered, and I am going.
Real quick, Arcane Danger, thank you for the tier 1 subscription on Twitch. 12 months. Awesome. 12 months. Thank you, Arcane Danger. Appreciate it. Sorry, go ahead, Algared.
Yep. So in answer to That's an Insult's question, you're not going because it costs so much, but I am. So I'll see you there.
Awesome. Yeah, look, what I might do at some point is Algared can give me a call or whatever, and I'll just kind of like phone in and we can talk to some people if you want. If you feel like giving me a call, and I can just you know, see some people's ugly mugs. Because that's one of the cool thing about it is putting names to faces.
Yeah.
That's what me and Algared get. Well, that's what I get. I don't know if you do the same, Algared, but it's the same for me. Like it's like, oh, because you walk up and you see such and such's name, and I've just, you know, it's like Lemming. I only know Lemming as text, and then I see his face and go, oh my god, you look like that, or like, oh, that's who you are, you know, because you just don't know. You know our faces, we don't know yours.
Yeah.
You're going, eh? All right, bye.
And our last question for today is from Mike G, and he says, would you ever do a show around doing self-referrals with alt accounts so you spend around $450? You can get a free Gladius, plus any bonus ship like the current free Dragonfly ship.
There is... I don't know if I'd feel exactly comfortable about encouraging people to make more accounts.
No. But I have done that.
Yeah. Lemming wants to say something because I'm going to hear all this noise. Lemming, what do you want to say?
I'm trying to think of a nice way to say this. So, it's very dangerous to be upgrading referrals. And I think making a show on it would possibly send the wrong message.
Yep. Yes, I agree. Pisspoor Pete has finally said what I thought someone would have asked ages ago. Inforunners, what's this Paladin giveaway in the title? Right, so we did the tier list episode this week. That is what will be airing on Monday in the Up Over, Tuesday on the Down Under. And if you just comment on that video, we will then go do in some period of time, we'll do a draw, and you'll be in the running to win a Paladin. What it'll probably be is a Guardian and a Paladin upgrade. So, and if you want to just melt the whole thing, you can, or do whatever you want with it. But if you are also here when we draw it, I'll also give you a skin for the Paladin, as in I think it's called Shadowfall, as well. So that's what I'm going to do. So I encourage you to be here. You'll get a little bit extra. Yeah. But yeah, all you have to do is leave a comment on that video. All you have to do is leave a comment on this week's video when it comes out this weekend. Something. Yep.
I would say for that video where it's that's a ship view video, yeah?
The tier list.
The tier list?
That you did.
So when you comment...
Yeah.
No. Yeah. But when you comment... pick one of the ships, say who you agree with and why. There you go.
We ask for things like that too, like give us your own tier list, like what ships do you like, who do you find you're agreeing with more? Do you agree with what most of Paul's ships he likes, or do you prefer Lokans or Lemmings or stuff like that? So again, but just any comment. I didn't even include subscribers this time, but we could do that retroactively if you wanted to. But I thought the extra for people. One of the reasons I'm not liking doing the subscriber stuff, right, is what we noticed is we do a giveaway. There's this massive uptick in subscribers, like a couple of hundred, whatever, and then the giveaway ends and they all leave, and that actually hurts us more in the algorithm. So I'd rather just do the giveaway period. Yep. Lemming, you want to say something? Because I can hear the noise again.
No, I wasn't even keying up my mic. But yeah, we can talk about.
We can hear
the flying overhead.
Oh, was it? Okay, my bad. Yeah.
So it was in the distance.
Ironically, Bola, the whole series or the whole A was A tier. Well, I made it A. I think Paul did as well. But again, that's just remembering yesterday. It was a very. And unlike previous years, I did not rush it. I tried to let it play out in as long. So normally you will find as we start out really detailed, and then we become into this rush at the end. Now it did rush a little bit, but nowhere near. It was 2.5 hours long. It was a really, really long episode. So you're in for a big one if you want it this week.
And sometimes when we've done those, the reason it gets rushed is, one or two people actually say, I have to go at. And so there's that trying to get through so that people are there. So yeah.
Sorry, I'm just trying to. What did you ask? Reply to me with an at Inforunners. Sorry, someone's saying that they asked a question and we didn't answer, but I don't see a question, bro. So if you're really quick, sharpology. We'll answer your question before we go.
In terms of Mike G's, like, yes, you can do that. You can do those alt things, alt accounts. The only reason I would ever recommend anyone do the alt accounts is if they know I'm going to spend that much money.
I think the only other one I would say is Star Kitten. Back then it was the easiest way to do it for yourself. I wish I'd done it, to be honest with you, because it's one of the few rare ships. That and the Scythe are the only two I missed ever. So,
yeah, and so unless you know I'm going to spend this much money, and it was easier back in the day when your credits, when there was no war bond, it was just credits or cash, and you just picked, and there was no discount account for paying cash. So you'd spend your cash it in, and then use those credits to buy the next ship.
Okay, so the video that we are talking about is this week's video. Every week we have a video come out that's pre-recorded. It'll be the video for this week, right? It'll come out and it'll say tier list 2025 Paladin giveaway. I'm just giving you a heads up, right? And we're going to run it. We'll run it for a couple of streams. But if you're a comment on that video, we'll even talk about it next week. So it's not a rush. So I'll talk about it next week, and you then can go back to that tier list video and you can drop a comment on it. And then we might even let it run for a month or something. I don't know. Right. And then in a couple of weeks' time we'll draw it. But we'll refer back to that video multiple times. You're not going to miss it. You asked about the Paladin giveaway. Sorry, man, I didn't see it. It's because Pete added Inforunners. When we get added at Inforunners, it pops up in a big orange box and we can see it. So he drew our attention. So apologies for that.
Pooping while standing, same thing.
Yeah,
video is coming out this week.
That's what I saw. Right. With that, then I think that's everything. We are going to raid Mr. Cobra. He is currently streaming STV. He's the only person on there that I know besides Loken, and Loken doesn't need help because he's like way up the top. So we're gonna raid Cobra TV SC. He's the only one on there I don't know at the moment. But it looks like he's doing some Kaga stuff. Let's turn the volume on and see what he's doing.
Everybody say hi to all the Cobras.
Hi, Cobras.
And he must be a fan of was it G.I. Joe? So he's doing a lot of cargo stuff. All right, Twitch, say goodbye to YouTube. YouTube, say goodbye to Twitch.
Bye, Twitch. All
right, we're going to be watching you ratings, so you better be on your best behavior. All right, bye. See you next weekend. And they're gone. Right. Let's.
Now we can talk about.
I actually like seeing how they react. So let's. He's got it up on his screen. So.
To the people that don't know,
hang on.
Oh.
Look at that. Inforunners, baby. Now that's what I call a raid. What is going on, brother? Thank you so much for the raid. And I'm going to say it like I always say it. You have the best show name.
He does say that all the time. Internet. Right.
Inforunners is the best show name on the internet. I'll say it every time I see you. Such a great.
Oh, it's follow only chat. We'll stuff that. Right. You were saying, Lemming, sorry.
To the people that don't know, Cobra is actually the reason that we have Anna in the community. Because Cobra's community is the one that pretty much put together a computer for Anna, and now Anna streams and is a Star Citizen.
Yeah, and basically took over the whole streaming thing, didn't she? So yeah. All right then. With that, then, is there anything you want to add, Lemming or Algared, before we? Nope. All right. Thanks for joining us, Lemming. Really appreciate it. Right. With that, then, don't forget to like, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and thank you to everyone that went the extra mile on Patreon at the end of the video. Make sure you go see Expat, Pissball Pete, anyone else that dropped in today as well. The Raiders. I forgot that other guy's name. Shit. What was his name? Skyborn or something like that. No, what was his name?
No.
Devil Gaming. Yeah, make sure you go say hello to him as well. Right, with that then, he's been Algared. The voice in the void has been. You got ahead of yourself. He's been Lemming, and now it's your turn.
Yeah, and he's Execute, and we're out of here. Take care.
See you, citizens. Say goodbye, Lemming.